Here's how they go for this 500-miler today. In the front row, Terry Labonte at 141 miles per hour, the 1983 winner, and beside him is Lake Speed in his Pontiac. Going to row number 2, Tommy Ellis, a big surprise out of Richmond, Virginia there, and Greg Sachs, who won the Firecracker 400. Row number 3 is the 4-time winner of this event, Cale Yarborough, and alongside Kyle Petty. Going to row 4, there you see Joe Ruttman and his Chevrolet, Neil Bonnet trying to win this race for the first time. In row number 5, Ricky Rudd, the Chesapeake, Virginia driver, and his Ford, and Tim Richmond. For row number 6 today, Harry Gant, who'll carry our onboard camera in the Bandit, and Bill Elliott trying to turn that bad luck around and take the championship. Row number 7 is Jeff Bodine. His last win, Riverside, California, a year ago. This could be his day. His brother won yesterday. Rusty Wallace is there in a Pontiac in row 7. In row 8, Dale Earnhardt ready to fight it out, and Ron Bouchard, who qualified very well for this race. Row number 9, Bobby Allison's there in the Buick, and alongside the veteran Dave Marcus. In row 10, Bobby Hillin and his Chevrolet, and Darrell Waltrip as the field is rolling down pit road. Notice that Waltrip is back there in the 20th position. Row 11 is Phil Parsons and Kenny Schrader, the leading rookie in the race. Row 12, Richard Petty and Buddy Baker ready to square off this afternoon. The field is rolling down pit road toward turn 1. Alan Kulwicki and Morgan Shepherd will be in row 13 this afternoon. As the field prepares for the start, row 14 is Trevor Boyce and Clark Dwyer and his Ford. Then in row 15, Jerry Bowman, a new name, and Buddy Arrington's there. Going to row 16, Eddie Burchwell, and beside him a new name, Spetman in that Chevrolet, making his first Grand National start. Going to row 17, that is the son of J.D. McDuffie, Jeff McDuffie, and alongside Randy Baker, the son of Buck Baker. Row 18 today, Bobby Wowak and J.D. is in the race, J.D. McDuffie, number 7. Row 19, Mike Potter and Jimmy Means out of Alabama. And rounding out the field, you see Jonathan Edwards and D.K. Ulrich, number 65, riding shotgun as they complete the first of the 2 preliminary laps to 492 laps of competition on a track which is absolutely unbelievable. A whole new game here today.
It is a whole new game, and as we noticed, Darrell Waltrip is starting 20th. I know that Darrell Waltrip is terrified about that starting spot simply because anything can happen these first few laps.
Anything. Yesterday in the early going, there were 6 caution periods, a total of 12. They tore up a lot of race cars yesterday before Brett Bodine came home the winner. And that was the first time they brought on this track. Now, from the in-car camera, you are looking at the Tim Richmond automobile, Harry Gant, the Bandit, getting set to square off today and try to bring car number 33 home. Back into the main straightaway, the Pontiac pace car bringing the field by. They are down the back straightaway here out of turn number 2. How fast through there?
In racing conditions coming off turn 2, they'll probably be at 125, 30 miles an hour. Right now, going in turn 3, these cars will be running upwards to 150 miles per hour.
We expect to see cars sliding, skittering up toward that wall. Morgan Shepherd, full contact into the concrete yesterday down here in turn number 1. And that was just the beginning of some serious crashes. Fortunately, no one injured, but a lot of equipment torn up. And nobody has the combination, the key, how to get around on this brand new surface. It isn't the fault of the tire, folks. Certainly isn't the fault of the Speedway. I think it was Waltrip that said a year from now we'll come back, we'll set all kinds of new records. But right now they're going 4 miles an hour slower than the record in qualifying on this new surface.
They have been working, and Darrell Waltrip has probably practiced more this weekend in Rockingham, Ken, than any race that he's been this year.
Benny, let's also point out that turns 1 and 3 are a little different. When they put the paving on, you can't run as low in that corner as you used to.
They have changed the angle, the entry into the corner. Exactly right, Ken. You used to go down in the corner right. You could drive to the bottom of the apron. They took about 5 feet away. You have to move up on the racetrack. It has caused serious problems for the drivers.
Light is off on the safety car. Terry Labonte on the point, bringing the field down 40 strong as we get set to go. There you see, report on conditions, about 77 degrees. There's a fire off turn number 3 over in the parking lot. It's been going for about an hour. I don't think it's going to bother. Every so often you'll see some smoke come across there. On the start, there's Ellis down on the inside trying for second. It's out in front. Sprints Terry Labonte. 492 laps here on TBS this afternoon. Turner Broadcasting, bringing you the Fall Triple Crown. The last 3 races to decide it all between Elliott and Waldron. And for the moment, Terry Labonte has it all gathered up. He's in front. And Tommy Ellis, who qualified so well, is in second. But he's being challenged. Lake Speed, who's set outside of the front row, tries to move back underneath him as they go down into turn number 1. Now they single file down through there and pussyfoot their way through. They really do a lot of tap dancing in these corners.
They are tiptoeing through the turns. You know, Charlie Harville talked to Lake Speed. He said he's going to take it easy for the first 450 miles. What did he do? Tried to pass the position on the very first lap.
Black flag on Buddy Baker's car, number 88. They say he jumped the starting flag. They want him in for consultation. Cale Yarborough goes to the inside. There you see him down to the bottom of the track. He's scooting up alongside Lake Speed. That's Cale. Boy, he's tough. He wanted Charlotte last time out. Joe Ruttman's right there with him as they go into the back straightaway.
It looks like Ruttman's going to try to take the spot away from Lake Speed down the back straightaway, but Lake does hold him off. Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd goes alongside Bobby Allison and looks like he has that spot as they exit turn 4.
That's right where Allison crashed yesterday hard with Charlie Luck. He actually lost an engine, got it sideways. Battle for second developing. Ellis is being challenged by Cale Yarborough. And the baby bull at number 28 noses down to the inside. Say hello to second place for Cale Yarborough as he tries to close up on Terry Labonte. That Ford looking really strong. Also moving up, Ruttman in the number 4. Now look at this skirmish. Here comes the number 12 car. Ricky Rudd is in there as they come out of that corner, all gathered up, fighting back in second spot. Cale is there, dead even. Joe Ruttman on the inside. Ellis on the outside for third. Now Ellis will take Ruttman will take the spot. Ellis goes back into third.
And Lake Speed is trying to get by. Tommy Ellis has exit turn 2. Great run for Joe Ruttman. One of his best runs of the year. Finished 5th in Charlotte just a couple of weeks ago. Maybe that's why he's running so good. Their enthusiasm has never been higher like me.
Labonte in first, Cale in second, Ruttman up to third, Ellis in 4th, Lake Speed in 5th, Ricky Rudd in 6th as they scoot back into turn number 1. Down to the inside, as we watch Terry Labonte in the back straightaway, could have a change of position. Lake Speed is picking up one. He's going to go to 4th. There you see Terry Labonte, 1983 Grand National Champion, won this race, trying to get it all back, gathered up, and get himself a victory this afternoon. That team with some major changes after Dale Inman left it. Actually, Dale got fired after he had made an announcement that in 1985 he was going to go back and join his cousin, Richard Petty. What a team that should be next year, 1986. Back straightaway another time. And look at that crowd. They've really filled in the back straightaway. They have a record crowd here today at The Rock. North Carolina Motor Speedway on the mile. So fast, but really looks like a half mile.
It does, from appearance-wise, it does look like a half-mile racetrack, but the speed is, it's 150 miles an hour, and there's no half-mile racetrack in the country that you can run that fast. Terry Labonte has tried to check out, but you can see that Cale Yarborough is slowly gaining, and Joe Ruttman isn't letting him go anyplace. He is gaining as well.
Up to 6. Neil Bonnet. Bonnet on the move. Further back in the field, here's Greg Sachs in that 77 car. Right behind him comes Dale Earnhardt. They struggle back into this turn. How hard is it to get off that number 4 and keep it even?
I haven't been here since they've repaved the Speedway. I haven't raced at Rockingham for a couple of years, Ken. Used to was not much of a problem, but yesterday in the Sportsman race, they had problems getting off that corner, and all the drivers that I've talked to, it is a problem getting off turns 2 and turn 4.
Now look at Earnhardt on the outside, beginning to make his way around. Dale Earnhardt trying to fight his way up through. He could be really strong on this track today.
He could be, and I'm surprised these cars are going up the racetrack. The groove is getting higher than I thought it would. Dale Earnhardt passing on the outside, that's quite a surprise.
Lake Speed running in the 4th spot. Kyle Petty is in 5th. Neil Bonnet is in 6th. Tommy Ellis.
Ruttman spins. Oh, Kyle.
Also, that's Neil Bonnet in it. Oh, what a bad break for Ruttman.
Terrible, terrible break. And Kyle Petty had a great run going for him. Looked like he's going to have some damage from that crash.
A long afternoon, and this, oh, here comes the number 7 bias, and it is badly torn up, left and right, showing a lot of smoke going out into turn 1.
There we can see the right rear quarter panel almost knocked off the automobile.
Kyle Petty's car number 7. Ruttman up into the wall in turn number 1, sliding along in turn number 2. On pit road, number 12, Bonnet is pitting. and he's all torn up. Car number 7. Here comes Kyle in. First caution comes at lap 10. Now working on 1 since 11. They're working 12. Let's take a look at replay. Get a look at what happened here.
We can see Ruttman has spun. He's back in the outside retaining wall. Rusty Wallace, that's Lake Speed on the outside. Kyle Petty tries to go underneath. There's no room because Lake Speed, he spins into Joe Ruttman. And here we see Neil Bonney get involved in the action. There goes Harry Gant, I think, by on the outside.
Ricky Rudd, Dale
Earnhardt. On the inside, here's a car that's just squeezing through. That's Tim Richmond and Bill Elliott up on the high side. I think that was Bill Elliott who just got through the action.
There's the Neil Bonnet car on pit road. We are under caution first time today as we bring you live coverage of the Rockingham 500. One of the last 3 races of 1985 to decide the Winston Cup Championship. Neil Bonnet's car continues to be worked on. What a bad day for him. Terry Labonte out in front. We'll be back with more in a moment. Back once again at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. We are under caution after the first incident of the day. Takes out 3 real contenders to take it all here today. There you see the Kyle Petty, car number 7. Kyle Petty's automobile being worked on quickly. They want to get him back out because of the intense point race. Remember, for the Winston race next year for $500,000, they've had 8 winners this year. There you see Kyle down on his knees, taking a look at the car. And in the point battle, if there were no more winners this year, then Rudd, Bodine, or Kyle Petty have a chance of getting in that race, and that's why they're working so intently on the car. Let's go down to the garage area right now. I think Jerry Garrett's there. We'll go there in just a moment. You see the work continue in the back panel there. Let's go to Dave Despain.
That's a real disappointing incident for you, Dale Inman. That's your nephew, Kyle Petty. What do you think the prospects are of getting him back in the race? Is there a chance?
Well, Dave, if he gets back out there, he'll certainly not be able to run or be a contender today. And he just had no place to go. And when he came by here, the car was tore up pretty good. And if he gets back, the deck lid's beat all down, and he'll definitely not be a contender.
What does the crew chief do in a situation like that? It's got to be a real quick assessment of the damage, I would think.
Well, if there's any major damage to the running works or something like that, all he's got to do is just clear the wheels now where to turn, because the body damage is really bad. But if there's an oil line broke or a gas line broke or something like that, he's got to get that fixed so the car will function. And the sheet metal there just can't do nothing about that other than just clear it off the wheels.
You spend a week preparing that race car. It gets torn up in 10 seconds. But how can you possibly tell if all the components are right? Do you just send him back out there and then try to feel it out as you go?
Well, he's got gauges there, and if he starts up and there's water or oil or something running out of the car, you trace that back. But as far as sheet metal damage, you don't worry about that. You just make sure the wheels are clear and let him go. You really hate to see it, and it just breaks the crew chief and the family's heart and everything else involved with this one team. It's a bad deal.
The irony of this is that Kyle Petty had completed more laps this year than any other driver. Ken?
Kyle Petty out of competition. Bad day for him. The issue probably tires. They're going to play a very large part in determining who wins this race. Benny Parsons took a look at the reason why.
This past summer, the North Carolina Motor Speedway completely repaved this 1-mile facility here in Rockingham, and that creates a nightmare for the engineers trying to figure out what tire combinations to use on these race cars. In early August, Goodyear brought Harry Gant and his Skull Bandit team to Rockingham and tested for 2 days, trying to find exactly the right tire for this racetrack with a new pavement. Some of the drivers complain that the tire they found is too hard, that they're going to be slipping and sliding all day. All the experience that the teams have gained over the years, throw that out the window. It doesn't mean anything. All the teams are starting at square one. And the winner could come from any place. The team that solves the tire problem, that's the team that's going to win. The winner may not be someone we're accustomed to seeing in victory lane. It could be anyone.
Let's go to Charlie Harville in the pits.
I'm in Neil Bonnet's pit, Ken, and the crew led by crew chief Doug Richer has been working on the car for the last several laps. They've cut away a good deal of the sheet metal. They had to completely remove the left front fender. While they were doing that, they changed tires on the right side, took that precaution at any rate. Right now, they are visually checking the wheel alignment to see what kind of damage that sustained in the accident. Tim Brewer, who is in charge of this crew, was under the rear of the car with the left rear wheel removed, and he was straightening the fender there. Here's Neil underway now back into the race.
In the Junior Johnson pits, a further addendum to that tire story. Darrell Waltrip, the teammate of Neil Bonnet in car number 11, is running for the championship. They have no idea what the tire situation is going to be. They have 8 sets of tires mounted for the start of that race. That's far more than any other team. For example, the other title contender, Bill Elliott, had mounted up 6 sets of tires going into the event. Neither Dale nor Elliott had, or never checked that, neither Elliott nor Waltrip had made much of a move early in the race. Elliott started 12th and was running 12th at the time of the crash. Waltrip started 20th, had moved up to 19th. So they're being very conservative on this unknown surface where the Rockingham 500 is being run here today.
Let's take a look at how they're running on the track right now. Labonte first, Kelly Yarborough second, Ricky Rudd is third, Dale Earnhardt is fourth, Tim Richmond is fifth, Greg Sachs is in sixth, Jeff Bodine seventh, Bill Elliott eighth, Ron Bouchard in ninth, Bobby Allison is in 10th, Richard Petty is in 11th, Darrell Waltrip is 12th, Bobby Hillen is 13th, Dave Marcus is 14th, Morgan Shepherd 15th, Kenny Schrader is shown in 16th. There's the number 33 Skoal cars. We see number 12 coming back on the track. The Neil Bonnet machine tries to get back out here in competition.
The fellow that has been on the move since the start of this race is Dale Earnhardt. He started 15th again and is now 4th place on the racetrack. And as I said a moment ago, he's passed them on the outside, and I never dreamed that he'd be able to do that.
You see that the War of the Worlds going on here today. The Harry Gant car, we had a couple of helicopters up here interfering with our signal a bit. Let's see if we can reach Harry Gant. Harry Gant, do you read us? Harry Gant, do you read us? Come in, Harry. Looked like an air war up there for a while. There's been several helicopters, and apparently one has a transmitter that's making for an interesting problem here today. Let's try once again to reach Harry Gant. Hello, Harry.
Harry, talk to him just like you would us.
All right, we're getting that straightened out. There's, you can see Harry working, trying to get himself going here. He had come back to about the 20th position after he made a stop out here. As we get set for the flag to come out, and I think they may come down in the next lap. Light is off on the pace car as they go through turn 2. Indicate we're getting set for a start.
Harry did make an unscheduled pit stop, and they did not change tires. All they did was go inside the car and adjust on the rear of the car. I don't know if they were raising the rear, lowering the rear, or just actually putting some more bite in the car. But he did make an unscheduled stop.
Pace car is going to come in this time, and we'll be back underway. They'll have completed 22 of the 492 laps. Live coverage here on the Superstation today from Rockingham, North Carolina. Ricky Rudd up there in third in the blue and yellow car. Going to the outside, Dale Earnhardt making a charge as the field rolls away back under green. As they come out of turn number 2, here's Earnhardt running wheel to wheel for third spot. Rudd on the inside, Gant leading, Yarborough deployed in second. And now you see Earnhardt really attacking. He seems to dive into that corner, and he has a little bite on the outside.
Boy, did Earnhardt go in that turn. I can't believe just how hard he drove in the corner, and the car stuck. It stayed in about the middle of the racetrack.
There you see Tim Richmond. He pulls up into 4th. Rudd is in 5th. Greg Sachs maintains 6th. Well, you go right to the wall up there in 2.
As you come off that corner, you have to go right to the wall. If you try to keep it away, you're going to spin as you come off that corner. That's why trying to pass another car, getting off that corner, getting underneath that car and trying to pass is so difficult. Much more difficult than turn 4.
It'll be a rugged afternoon. The Rutman car was entirely destroyed in the nose, particularly right front. They bent a lot of iron on car number 4, the T.G. Shepherd Folgers car, in bad shape after it smacked the wall right where he did in the spring. That's the same place he tried to go through the concrete back in the spring race here at Rockingham. Rockingham, North Carolina, live. The action of the Rockingham 500. 500 miles, 3 races to go to decide the championship. Approximately $20 million in this series. And Elliott and Waltrip, they're going to fight right to the end. We'll give you an update on points as we watch their battle this afternoon. Here you see Terry Labonte leading by 3 car lengths over Cale Yarborough, trying to make it 2 in a row. He won at Charlotte, grand style, in the Miller 500.
Labonte is holding him off. Labonte is doing a good job holding him off. Cale cannot gain, neither can Labonte. It looks like a dead-even race right now. But things will change as the day wears on.
Cale creeps up a little right there. Back straightaway into 3. Cale just about 1 car length back, and then 7 car lengths back. There you see Earnhardt following Earnhardt in 3rd. Tim Richmond having a good ride, followed by Ricky Rudd and Greg Sachs, who qualified very well. All of a sudden, Cale is taking another shot at that first place. He inches down, testing that Ford. He and Waddell Wilson certainly paid their dues this year with his car number 28 for the Ranier Lundy team, and they now have it where it looks like it could be a winner almost any time they come out.
He is getting down the straightaway very, very well, and seems to be getting through turns 1 and 2 just a little bit better than Labonte. Although Labonte does seem to have maybe a bit of an advantage down in 3 and 4.
Now remember, the turns are different. 25-degree banking, 1 and 2, 22 on the other end. So no matter how you set the suspension up, it is a bit of a compromise here.
Look at Earnhardt. Earnhardt is, oh, there's Greg Sachs. Yes, that's Richmond in front, Ricky Rudd behind, and Greg Sachs. That's the race for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Meanwhile, Earnhardt is closed up on the 2 leaders. 2 distinct battles going on, and there is Earnhardt. Notice how he knows that car out. Just pulled it out just a little to come up through.
We're going to have a challenge at bid for the lead going in turn 3. Yarborough tried Labonte, no. But look at Earnhardt drive up on the outside of Cale going in turn 3. Didn't he see Ruttman going there like that a moment ago, Ken?
And went straight into the wall and just tore that right side of the car all up, took the nose off it. But into 2nd comes Earnhardt. Well, there's an Iron Man. He is determined, and he is riding on the smallest tightrope out there when he tries the outside, but he's into 2nd. There's the leader, Labonte, and closing is Earnhardt. An amazing performance by Dale in the Childress team car,
who started 15th and has passed 14 cars to get here.
Back they come in the main straightaway. Cale looks like he wants to come back and try him again. Meanwhile, in the 4th position, the 27 car of Richmond tries to draw away from Ricky Rudd. Work continuing. Kyle Petty working on his own car out here for the Wood Brothers. Wood Brothers haven't won a race since July '83 with Buddy Baker out at Daytona. They would like to have their luck change. They'll have to wait for Atlanta now, and you'll see Atlanta here on TBS. Now, there you see that quick shot as they come out of there. How fast by that speed shot?
I would think they're probably running 130 to 35 miles an hour as they exit that spot of turn 4. A very strange line that Dale Earnhardt is running. And that's one reason that he has had so much success is he's figured out the fastest way around this racetrack quicker than anyone else.
He knows the fastest way into 3. Did you notice that he picked up 2 car lengths just going into 3?
Yes, he really gets in that corner much harder than anybody else on the racetrack right now.
All right, let's go down to Charlie Harville.
In the garage area was Joe Ruttman, who was involved in that accident. Joe, what happened there?
Well, Charlie, going down the backstretch, the motor just decided to give up on us, and and when the oil and the water got underneath the tires, it was just into the wall and obviously getting in a lot of other people's way at the same time.
Were you out there long enough to tell anything about the track conditions?
Well, I would say I think that they'll edge up the groove a little bit. They'll run a little higher in the corners as the race progresses. And it's really a shame that we fell out early because we wanted to make a lasting showing with Folgers, because they are going with a new team this year, next year with Tim Richmond as a driver and Rick Hendricks as a car owner. So we really want to get a good showing of these last 2 races. So we got one more race at Atlanta and make a good show.
Joe Ruttman out of it unfortunate all the way around, as you heard for him today. And did you see the move that put number 3, Earnhardt, up in front? Since 1979, he's never done better than 5th in this race. But look at him fly right now. And that looks like the Earnhardt of old, up on the outside on a track where angels fear to tread. He's put his foot right through the floorboard and is now drawing away from the second place battle. That's getting to be a pretty good skirmish. Cale Yarborough pulling up on 44, Terry Labonte.
Dale Earnhardt, I am so impressed by the groove that he has found so early, because you're right, it is where angels fear to tread. There's been nobody up there with the exception of Dale Earnhardt.
Looking for his 16th career win. Now look at this fight for second place. Cale sitting there. He knows there's a long, long way to go today. So he's just waiting, I believe, back there in third spot.
There's several drivers that is on the move. Richard Petty is one of them. He started 23rd. He just passed for 9th spot.
Richard Petty, who had a pretty good run at Charlotte, and it went sour on him.
Yes. Well, Richard Petty in Richmond, Virginia, just a couple of months ago ran a super race, almost won the event.
There's Petty, right up behind Jeff Bodine, right behind him, Bill Elliott.
And here comes alongside Bill Elliott is the 22 car, Bobby Allison.
8, 9th, and 10th. Bodine, number 5, is your 8th place car. Richard Petty is in 9th. Here he goes looking for him on this 1-mile track. Into the backstretch, Bodine. Brother Brent Bodine, the winner yesterday of the 200-mile event here at Rockingham. 12 cautions. A lot of hard hits.
Richard's running that high groove like Earnhardt. He's going a little bit higher than Bodine in turn 3 and 4.
So they did figure a few things out. Cale was as quick as anyone in practice yesterday, but the other car that was the big surprise was Bouchard.
And he is moving along as well, Ron. Bouchard running very well today.
You see them lapping Randy Baker in the 87 back straightaway. Watching the battle for 8th position. You see Jeff Bodine, and here comes Richard Petty, edging, trying to pull by and take another spot. We'll see you back in a moment. In stock car racing, this is the Rock, North Carolina Motor Speedway, the mile, where right now Dale Earnhardt is at the summit, leading in a surprising drive, coming up through traffic in a hurry in the early going. He looked like he was running a 25-lapper at Hickory, North Carolina. He's now trying to draw away from Terry Labonte, the second-place car.
You talked a moment ago that Dale Earnhardt, this looks like a half-mile racetrack. Dale Earnhardt this year has 4 victories, all of them on a half-mile racetrack. So it must look like a half-mile to Dale Earnhardt as well.
There you see Terry Labonte in that second spot. Cale is in 3rd. Running 4th is Richmond. 5th is Greg Sachs. 6th is Ricky Rudd. 7th is Bouchard. Going 8th right now is Richard Petty. And there you see in the 9th position, Jeff Bodine, followed by Bill Elliott in 10th. Then Allison, the number 22 car, is running in the 11th spot, and Darrell Waltrip has moved from 20th into 12th.
Darrell Waltrip has got Bill Elliott exactly where he wants him right now. As long as he can follow that 9 car all day, he knows that he's not going to lose very many points. 1 year ago, Dale Earnhardt finished 13th in this event. Right now, it's still way early in the going, but he certainly has proven he has the muscle, and the Childress team has found the handle on this racetrack. We keep talking about the points, and I'm sure that the fans will, what are we talking about by the points? The winner, folks, of the point championship gets about $350,000 to $400,000. That's what we're talking about. And anyone will tell you that a new winner, with all the residuals and the commercial things you can do, it's worth $1 million. Might be worth $1 million. So it's worth a great deal of money, and that's why it's so important to Bill Elliott and Darrell Waltrip. Cale Yarborough seems to be closing just a little bit on Terry Labonte. Car number 3 trying to draw away. He now has himself a 2-second advantage. It's not very fast. And again, it's early. It's 50 laps down. We see that Dale Earnhardt has gotten the whole field up to his groove. They found that how well he's running up there, so they're all running on the high side of the racetrack right now. Everybody on their radio and talking about what to do to try to contend with Dale Earnhardt, who really is flying. He is continuing to move around, putting a lap on Dave Marcus right here. We saw his car wiggle just a bit as he went in turn 1. I guess there's no secret about what Rick Hendrick's going to do. There's going to be a teammate for Jeff Bodine next year. How about that? That's quite a surprise. I had not heard that. Tim Richmond will move into the Rick Hendrick team, and you heard it here.
Joe Rutman and that Benfield team losing that sponsorship.
That's the Morgan McClure. That's the Morgan McClure team.
There are 2 races within our race today, and each of them is important to these drivers. The first is the Barclays American Halfway Leader Award, a cool 10 grand awarded to the car leading on lap 246 today. We saw them really racing, Benny, over at Charlotte the other day for that.
Oh, back in the World 600, Dale Earnhardt, the leader of this race, was leading the race, and Darrell Waltrip was trying to get by him to win the $10,000. They came off the 4th corner for the halfway point. Earnhardt simply ran Darrell Waltrip in the grass, said, "Hey, boy, that's my $10,000, and you ain't getting it."
And then Ernie Elliott got on the radio to Bill Elliott the other day and said, "Stand on." He went by about 3 guys.
At Michigan, Bill was running 3rd. Came the midway lap, lap 100. Ernie said on the radio to Bill, "Hey, Bill, it's time to win." Bam, he goes by Yarborough, and Waltrip wins the $10,000.
There you see Ron Bouchard in the 47 car, and that car is running in 6th position. In the next position back is Ricky Rudd. The second race is brand new with this event, and I think all of us kind of enjoyed it. These competitors running today have not won a Grand National race yet. Now, some of the names you see there are going to be just as well known as a Petty or a Waltrip or an Elliott, or even Benny Parsons. Nationwise Auto Parts, the sponsor of the race today, is going to give the first finishing up-and-comer $1,000 worth of merchandise from their stores to support their team. Got a spin down here in turn number 1. It's one of the McDuffies. That's Jeff at number 0. The Rumpel car, Rumpel Furniture folks. Over here in North
That's a
Carolina.
terrible name for a car, Rumpel.
I always like to see it across the back. You'd almost think it was an advertisement to hit him, but the Rumpels are really good folks, and they've helped the McDuffies many, many times over the years. The only support that J.D. and company had for a long time.
I'll tell you what, there's some teams that needed that caution flag desperately because they need to get on 4 fresh tires. By the way, NASCAR does have a tire rule. Normally on a caution flag, you can only change 2 tires. They have waived that rule today. You can change 4 tires if you'd like.
56 of 492 laps are complete. Now, that tire rule was called off after everybody agreed it just wouldn't work with the conditions we have today. McDuffie looping, nothing serious. In car number 0, bringing out the second caution of the day, and all the leaders are coming on pit road.
Yes, they are, and I'm sure they're all going to change 4 tires. There goes Earnhardt.
We'll be back with more of the action of the Rockingham 500 from North Carolina Motor Speedway shortly. Incredible incident has just happened. Out of turn 4, under caution. Bill Elliott's car has been in contact with Richard Petty. They've crashed both the cars. They're still running. From this side, it doesn't look bad. From the other side, it doesn't look good for Bill Elliott in car number 9. And there's a wheel coming down now out of turn number 4. That's the Bobby Wowak car. I don't believe that is from the same incident.
No, it's not. It isn't from the same incident unless they were trying to dodge that tire and simply ran into each other.
Coming by, we're going to see car number 9 dive onto pit road. He took a lot of abuse out there. And with him comes Greg Sachs, or rather Bobby Allison's number 22.
And we can see the damage on the right front of Bill Elliott's car. It doesn't look too severe, but we really can't tell how much damage the right front tire took.
Bill Elliott's car number 9. Let's go to Charlie Harville.
We're in Bill Elliott's pit. We can see the damage on the right side, which Vinny describes to you. There is no damage at all on the left side. We'll get a word with one of the crew members as soon as he finishes working on the car and find out exactly what occurred under caution.
Work continues on Elliott. Now, while they were under caution, Waltrip stayed on the track, and he led a lap. He let all the others leaders pit, and then he stayed out there and picked up 5 points. There's Bobby Wowak's car looking for a wheel. Not the best day. Joe Gazaway stands alongside Bobby Wowak. Here comes the number 9 back out. What a bad break for Elliott. Here's Dave Despain.
Well, down here at the STP Pit Communications Center, we're still about 180 laps away from the midway point in the Barclays Run for the Money. The guys who have been up front today, Cale Yarborough, Dale Earnhardt, have both won this award once. Terry Labonte has never won it, and he'd like to get that 10 grand here today. Obviously, Bill Elliott's big concern here was not that midpoint effect, but trying to break out of that losing streak that's seen him run outside the top 10 in 4 of the last 5 races. Unfortunately, it looks like that string may continue here today. Let's go down to pit road now and Jerry Garrett.
Bobby, what happened to your car there?
They started jacking it up to change tires. The jack didn't work. I told them to put the tires back on so we wouldn't lose a lap. And I guess the guy forgot to turn the impact around, so it would tighten the nuts instead of take them off.
You went out and the wheel just went flying off when you got up on the bank end?
It's also messed up the brakes, so I don't think we can go back out.
Well, that's the answer to what happened to that tire, Ken.
They continue to work on Elliott's car.
And he almost got left. He almost stayed in the pits too long. That was too close for comfort. They got to get a spotter on top of a truck or something because that was just too close for comfort.
Well, this is unfortunate for Bill Elliott in this tremendous battle that he's been having here. He is trying to get back into it. It's all gone backwards for him since Darling. Here he is
back in the pits again, so evidently there is some serious damage on that automobile we can't see.
That's just about as bad a set of bad luck as you can have over a period of races. Leading by over 200 points at Darlington. Many have proclaimed him the champion at that time. Now, here he is, still looking up from under. He's fallen behind Waldrop in the standings. There were 20 points apart going into this race, continuing to work frantically on Elliott's car, putting him back together, taping it up, and sending him on his way.
They're taping the windshield. It looks like he has a broken windshield along with all the other problems that he has. You see, the windshield, that is a spot that he needs to see out of. He's going to lose some visibility with the tape that they put on the windshield.
Coming back, he'll be in the rear of the field. The last report we had 21 cars in the lead lap. He will come back to that 21st position. Harry Gant continues to have trouble. Car number 33. That's going a lap down. In just 6 weeks, Bill Elliott has seen that big lead just go away. Dave Despain reviews how that happened.
Labor Day. $1 million Bill Elliott owns a 206-point lead. But the next 2 Sundays, his car breaks. Darrell Waltrip finishes first and second and erases this happy smile. Bill's lead cut to 86, going to the Martinsville, Virginia short track. He gets a break. Waltrip spins, but Bill gets caught too. What's more, Darrell comes back for second place. Elliott settles for 17. The lead, 23 points. North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Elliott's once invincible Thunderbird sits on the jacks. For the second time in 3 weeks, the flywheel has broken. A rare mechanical bug has bitten. And for the 4th week in a row, Elliott is out of the top 10. His face tells the story. Waltrip owns the point lead.
Not giving up. Bill Elliott right back out here and trying again. We're preparing on a restart. Richard Petty's car, that car has been blunted in the nose on the right quarter panel.
And Richard had an excellent run going from himself today, and he had to make several unscheduled pit stops. He is right in front of Harry Gant is between he and Bill Elliott.
64 laps complete as they come back to green with Earnhardt first, Labonte second, Yarborough third, Richmond fourth, Tommy Ellison fifth. It'll be Rudd in sixth, Bodine in seventh, Bouchard and Waltrip as they scoot back for the first turn. Bill Elliott well back as they go down into the first turn. Clambers right up behind Richard Petty, who was 18th, and here he comes smoking down the back straightaway trying to catch up with him. There you see Richard Petty, and then Elliott now back for the lead. Look at Terry Labonte putting the charge on Dale Earnhardt. Side by side with the lead, and as they go down into turn number 1 in our live coverage, give the lead back. On the inside to 44, the pole sitter, Terry Labonte. Labonte back in front. Cale still a big factor, sits right there in third spot. Riding fourth, Tim Richmond, who, as you heard earlier, changes teams next year. Becomes part of the Rick Hendrick stable out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
The Labonte car has 4 new tires.
On the pit road comes Greg Sachs.
He has been black flagged for jumping on the restart, and Earnhardt almost loses it down in turn 1. Yarborough gets by him 4-second spot.
Woo. See that smoke up there. Every so often that just blows across the track. So far, it hasn't been a problem. It started about an hour before race time with a fire over there in the parking lot. They still haven't got it extinguished.
Earnhardt is drifting back, and so they've all went in and changed 4 tires. It could be that Earnhardt's combination is not quite as good now as it was just a moment ago.
That can kill you. The wrong stagger on those things. Say good night. Right now, Richmond is moving in on Dale Earnhardt. The man who put on, and Earnhardt runs way high, and Richmond is running right down to the bottom of the racetrack. The 4th place car in your picture. Now you see Earnhardt, the blue and yellow, number 3, and Tim Richmond closing ground. Richmond would sure like to get a win under his belt here today. Look at Earnhardt's number 3 climb up, and on the inside, Richmond moving in again. That's the battle right there. It's for 3rd position. Holding on to it is Earnhardt. Moving in is car number 27, the maroon and gold. Raymond Beetle colors for Tim Richmond.
Early in this race, Dale Earnhardt used that high line and ran by everybody. Now Dale Inman, he's running up high and he's losing ground. Any theories?
I think they've made a difference. Everybody's been able to run low right now, and they've got their tire stagger worked because the quick way around this racetrack is on the bottom. I noticed Harry Gant went to his car and raised the whole back end of the car up. So as they moved up, evidently it's rougher up there, and they were bottoming the car out. So I've seen Travis and his crew just come straight up with both jack screws in the rear. Evidently he was bottoming out.
On the last pit stop, most of the leading cars cranked a lot of jack into the right rear, and perhaps they were trying to adjust and be able to run that Earnhardt line, or is that just an amateur theory?
Well, I think the line has come back to the bottom of the racetrack right now, and if these tires hold up, the quick way around will be on the bottom, but right now Earnhardt's groove up high is not too good.
The thing to keep in mind is that this is all a function of this new pavement on the racetrack. It's like looking for the key in the dark, the needle in the haystack. Nobody knows what the combination is, and on every pit stop they're making frantic adjustments to these cars, trying to get a combination that'll make the car go fast somewhere, high, low, in the middle, but somewhere on the racetrack.
We saw Tim Richmond just a moment ago trying to challenge Dale Earnhardt for 3rd spot. Now he's trying his best to keep 3rd spot away from Jeff Bodine, and Bodine has it as he comes down the front straightaway.
And there's that number 2 go. Whoa, Bodine. Just a little skitterish there for a second. Number 3, Earnhardt is pulled up into 3rd. Bodine, number 5 car, is in 4th. Richmond is in 5th. Right behind him comes Ricky Rudd, maintaining the 6th position, and then comes Darrell Waltrip in 7th.
And Darrell Waltrip is on the move. He has gained on these 4 cars in front of him. He is on the move. Rudd better look out.
3rd Earnhardt, 4th Bodine, 5th Richmond, inside of Harry Gant's car. And after a couple of great wins recently and a tremendous run at Charlotte, well, the engine went away on him. Harry Gant having problems today in car number 33. Here's your lead car, number 44, Terry Labonte, and there you see the interval to 2nd place, number 28, Cale Yarborough. Cale Yarborough, who won his last time out in that Revere Lundy car, now is about 25 car lengths back from the leader. The real scramble is back further in the deck, and here you see them. Darrell Waltrip, line 7th, trying to close up on Ricky Rudd in 6th. Tim Richmond falling back again. Richmond has come back another spot. Look at Waltrip try that high line again. Some options out here on the racetrack.
There is options, and I like that kind of racetrack where you have some options, where all the cars do not have to run in the same spot. That way we can see some excellent racing as we have seen so far today in the first 75 laps. Caution flag is on the racetrack.
Yellow is out once again. This will mark the 4th time today. Let's see, 3rd time today. 3rd time we've been under caution. Under caution at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. We're bringing you live coverage of the Rockingham 500. Continuing to stay out in front is Terry Labonte, but the battle for the championship, Waltrip versus Elliott, that's the one to watch.
Back live at North Carolina Motor Speedway, where the report from Bill Elliott's pit is good. He has a broken windshield, some front-end sheet metal damage, but they fixed it. No more problems.
Well, that gives you back some of your breath if you're an Elliott fan today.
The thing that I'm concerned about, Ken, is that he was dropping back. They say nothing's wrong, but yet he wasn't running as fast as he was prior to his damage.
There you see Ernie on the radio. They continue to be a little concerned out here about car number 9 at this point. Came in 20 points out of the championship battle, leading by 200 Darling. They really wanted to turn it around today. Now, when that race restarted, Richard Petty marched right up back to 10th position after he was in that altercation under caution. Meanwhile, the Elliott car moved up to about 16th, and that was as far as it went. That's your point, man.
Yes, that's my point, is that he did not move along with Richard Petty. He stayed back there, did not gain, and I'm just concerned there may be something other than what they're saying.
Let's follow this number 43 if we can, and you can see the damage that number 43 sustained there on the right side of the car.
The headlight door is completely gone on the automobile. Bobby Allison, meanwhile, was black flagged by NASCAR, and when he went to his pits, he didn't even go to the pits. He went directly to the garage area, and they've raised the hood on the car. I can see him down there working on the car under the hood, trying to repair whatever problem he has. What I hear is there is oil leak, that he is leaking oil and has to fix it.
They brought him in under a black flag, and this caution was for oil in turn 3 specifically. Tomorrow night at 8:05, the Hall of Fame game in Massachusetts, the world champion L.A. Lakers with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the Indiana Pacers, led by that rookie sensation, Wayman Tisdale. Last exhibition game of the season. Play-by-play Rick Barry and Bill Russell on Superstation WTBS. Next Friday night, the other world champions. Boston Celtics from a year ago, and the New Jersey Nets get the regular season underway from the Meadowlands. That's a week away.
It's hard to think of basketball in this kind of weather, because today they're expecting 80 degrees in Rockingham, North Carolina.
Terry Labonte out in front, and that 80-degree heat. It gets up in there for 500 miles, 492 laps on this track. That'll wear him out.
It is going to wear him out, because these fellows are not being able just to drift through the corner and keep the wheel in one position, Ken. They're going to have to be working that wheel back and forth, constantly trying to monitor which way the car is going and to keep the back end in tow.
When they get ready to go one lap away, we'll have Waltrip in 5th after these pit stops, and Bill Elliott in the 6th position. That's Waltrip in 5th, Elliott in 6th, nose to tail. Let's go to Jerry Garrett.
Yeah, Bobby Allison, what is the problem here?
The rear end is burning up in the car. I don't know why. I don't know what caused it, but something went wrong either with the cooler or something, and they're having to change the rear end gear.
You hope to be back out, though?
Yeah, we should be back out in just a few laps. The guys will do it in a big hurry.
Dale Inman, you're a crew chief. How long is that fixed? He says a few laps.
Well, it'll probably take 8 to 12 minutes to change gears, and evidently the gear got hot and burnt the pinion seal, and he was dropping oil on the racetrack.
And that was the reason for the black flag, the yellow, and now for Bobby Allison's visit. So it all ties together here, Ken.
David, thank you, David. On the restart, Labonte first, Cale Yarborough second, Jeff Bodine third, Ricky Rudd in 4th, Waltrip 5th, Elliott 6th. As they come down, Hillen will be 7th. Ken Schrader, the rookie, is up to 8th. Lake Speed is in 9th. Bouchard is in 10th as they come to the line.
Terry Labonte and Cale Yarborough and Jeff Bodine did not hit the last time. They stayed out with the old tires. We saw Dale Earnhardt and the problems he was having. He went in and put on 4 new tires.
Jeff Bodine, man on the move at the present time. He's up to 3rd. Let's see if he wants to go in front of those leaders. Waltrip's beginning to cut loose. Waltrip moving up into 5th position, and he's closing ground.
He's
Waltrip
another car.
working on Ricky Rudd.
He's another car that did not pit. The first 5 cars did not pit on the last caution flag.
Waltrip right on Ricky Rudd as they go down through turns 1 and 2. Here are the leaders. Labonte in 1st, Cale in 2nd, Bodine in 3rd, and there you see Waltrip trying to move underneath, trying to get down below and making that spot. Meanwhile, up in front, 28 closes in on 44 again. Number 11 has taken the spot. Car number 7 is getting ready to come back on the track. So a lot of work coming down pit road. Now you see that struggle going on, and look at Waltrip fighting with Rudd in the 15 car.
The outside groove looks to be the best way around for Darrell Waltrip, because he was on the outside and got by Ricky Rudd going in turn 1.
Now there you see Bobby Hillen in the Nationwise Up and Coming Award. This is the first of the drivers who've never won a Winston Cup race. Bobby Hillen holding on out there. Remember, Hillen is currently shown 7th overall in the field, but he's leading among those up-and-comers.
And Cale Yarborough got his nose underneath Terry Labonte going in turn 1. Labonte went in high, was able to hold off Cale Yarborough. I'm handing a note that says Kyle Petty's back on the racetrack, and he's 75 laps down. There he goes.
88 laps complete. And take a look at the damage on that car. Both sides, not only this side, but the other side is all ripped up on car number 7, the Wood Brothers machine. And that win they've been waiting so long for is not going to be today. Trying to score points. Remember, coming into this race, Kyle Petty is 7th in the overall Winston Cup standings, with Jeff Bodine in 6th, Ricky Rudd in 5th. And it's from those three that the way things are now is that smoke gets a little heavier over there in turn 3. 2 of them, if there are no other new winners, that will make the Winston next year.
And that Winston race is $200,000 to the winner. So it means so much to these fellows. Just the few points that they can earn today means so much to them.
Kyle Petty comes back on pit road. Kyle is coming back in. Greg Spettman running very slowly down the bottom of the racetrack in the Council Bluffs, Iowa car. Here you see that battle for the lead. It continues as Cale puts the pressure on, just stays there, lets you know that he's ready anytime you want to make a mistake.
Cale Yarborough's been doing this for a long, long time. He has won this race again 4 times. He's not about to let too much, let him get away. He's not about to be concerned too much about Terry Labonte leading this race.
Darrell Waltrip running in 4th place at the present time, and he says that the pit crews are really under the gun more than usual today.
Come in and change tires during the race, get the wrong set of tires on and be lapped in 20 laps. So it's going to be a very difficult day for everybody, particularly the pit crews.
Now, as the cars are on the track, see Labonte, really see Waltrip at the moment. And remember that he's in 4th position. The lead car remains number 44, Terry Labonte. Cale Yarborough in 2nd, and you can see the interval there. Then Bodine has fallen back a little bit. He's almost a full second, maybe more than a second now, back from 28, Cale Yarborough, and Waltrip is closing in. Waltrip definitely closing in on Jeff Bodine for 3rd place.
The first 100 laps of the race were almost up to 100 laps of the race. The class of the field has been Terry Labonte, Cale Yarborough, and Dale Earnhardt.
Ricky Rudd is in 5th, Bill Elliott is in 6th, and Earnhardt is running in the 7th place right now, Benny.
Yes, he has made his pit stop. He's back to 7th spot, but he's not making those, he's not gaining on the leader with those giant leaps like he was early on in the race.
The average speed for the event's down around 102 miles an hour. No record here, as we've had 3 cautions in the early going on a very skitterish racetrack. Brand new pavement, and it cured faster than they thought it was going to. It grayed, as they say, went from black to gray, and they came in with a hard compound, really a Talladega tire to run of this mile, and it hasn't worked out to the point where they pulled the tire rule this morning, and that business is out. You can use as many tires as you desire.
Well, I talked to the engineer about this tire situation earlier on in the week, and as I mentioned on that piece we saw a few moments ago, they brought Harry Gant in, and they tested. This is the tire that it took in August to survive. It was still 270 degrees. They had to have this tire to survive. But as you mentioned, the track cured. Now they could probably use a little bit softer tire, but they need about 2 months lead time to make these tires for each and every race.
Bill Elliott closing up on Ricky Rudd. You see number 9, and you see Earnhardt trying to get back into this thing. They trickle down through the laps, 492 today. Elliott, who had such incredible luck at Darlington, South Carolina, in winning that $1 million. They call him Huckleberry Finn. He likes to be called a $1 million buck Huck, he says, a lot more than $1 million bill.
You know, there's been several names for Bill. We see Cale Yarborough has gained on Terry Labonte.
Indeed. Here's Cale coming in. Cale is, let's see if he's going to make a shot here. He's pulled up considerably, and he seems to have that same option going into turn 3 that Earnhardt had a moment ago. He's closed right up on the rear bumper, and it may be he's ready to take a shot at 1st place. Terry Labonte in 1st. Here they are, wheeling down through 1 and 2, headed for the back straightaway. Here comes Cale. You might have a little room, and you've got a lap car right in front of him.
Yarborough is running lower on the racetrack than any other car on the Speedway, and if he can stay down there, as Dale Inman mentioned a moment ago, that certainly is the fastest way around the racetrack.
One of the back markers blocking the effort of Cale Yarborough to get in there. Here he is back once again. There's Cale dropping low, just as Benny pointed out, and now he's trying that shot on the inside. Not to be. Lap car in front. Have to slide back in. Bodine 3rd, Waltrip 4th, Rudd 5th, Elliott 6th, Earnhardt 7th, Bouchard 8th, Lake Speed 9th. Tim Richmond 10th. Around Randy Baker they come again, and up on one of the McDuffies. I think that's JD this time. Cale Yarborough squares off in turns 1 and 2. Moving in. And now, for the moment, car number 44 is pulled away by about 5 car lengths over Cale Yarborough in the second position.
And there, Darrell Waltrip.
There you see car number
He's right behind Jeff Bodine. He's on the bumper.
We'll be back with more of the action from the North Carolina Motor Speedway in the Rockingham 500 after these messages. We've had a good old-fashioned wingding of a race here. Cale Yarborough moved up underneath 44 and for 3 laps ran him side by side through some lap traffic that was simply hair-raising. At this moment, number 44, Terry Labonte, is back out in front with Cale maintaining the second position. Darrell Waltrip, meanwhile, is closing all the time. He's whipping through the field and now finds himself around Jeff Bodine. He's moved up to 3rd. Bodine is in 4th. Waltrip is in 5th. Bill Elliott is still back there in 6th position. Long way to go in this one. Again, Waltrip moved around Bodine, and he's taken over in 3rd spot. Here's your battle for the lead one more time. Cale dove right down to the bottom of the track. Got nipped by a lap car in there earlier. Here they are, wheel to wheel another time. Jimmy Means pinned up on the outside, and Cale gets the advantage going in the back straightaway.
He used that, Labonte used that slow car. I mean, Cale used the slow car to take the, oh, then Labonte comes back, but Means is still there. If he'll just get out of the way, we might see some more side-by-side racing. Well, Cale almost slips. Labonte slips. Oh, Hart.
There's an oh my heart. Cale Yarborough, now Labonte back on the outside. He takes it almost to the wall. Cale in the lead. Terry Labonte in 2nd. Waltrip 3rd. Bodine 4th. You're watching it live today on the Superstation. The superpowers of American motor racing on the mile. The Rock, Rockingham, North Carolina. The Rockingham 500. Cale Yarborough in 1st. Terry Labonte in 2nd. That's where it is. Squared off right up in front for the moment.
Meanwhile, while these two fellows have been racing, Yarborough and Labonte have been racing side by side. Darrell Waltrip has been creeping up. And in just a few laps, we'll probably be able to see him in this picture.
He has a way of doing that.
He has a way of doing that. A great run. Started 20th. He now is 3rd spot.
Bodine 4th. Earnhardt 5th. Elliott 6th. Rudd 7th. Bouchard 8th. Richard Petty in 9th. Let's take a look at just how close that racing was when they were scrambling a little earlier out here between 28 and 44. Take a look at this. Lap car on the inside. I think that's Bowman's car.
I think that's Jerry Bowman's car. And Cale, as he goes by, will clip the front fender. Whoop, there we see. He clipped the front fender of Bowman's car.
And it wasn't that slow. That's about 140 miles an hour.
Probably 150 miles an hour.
Richard Petty showing a little smoke, they say, as he comes up on number 33, Harry Gant.
Yes, he does have some smoke. Very possibly could be the tires rubbing the fenders. As Dale mentioned a moment ago, these cars moving up on the racetrack higher than they have been accustomed to running. It just may be that the sheet metal is coming down and rubbing the tires.
Let's go to Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center.
We've got a great race going here with Cale Yarborough and Terry Labonte mixing it up. 110 laps in. And remember now, 246 is the magic number for the Barclays American Run for the Money, the halfway award. Dale Inman, you were Terry Labonte's crew chief. Let's say we're at 236, 10 laps away. What do you tell your guy about that 10 grand?
Well, I make the driver aware that we are 10 laps away from the big dollar lap, and the way to make these drivers run on a Greyhound, you put a rabbit in front of him. For a driver, you check a $1 bill at him and he'll go for it. So you would start a countdown of about 10 laps and tell him not to over-abuse the car, but the $10,000 is certainly worth running for him.
So you're going to count him down to it just like we do in the TV business then, right?
Just exactly like that. In fact, we use that same technique in the West, and we got a $10,000 lap there.
Yarborough has won it before. He won the first one earlier this year. Terry Labonte has never won it. His former crew chief says he'd tell him go.
Terry Labonte at number 44, now showing 118 laps complete this afternoon in this Rockingham 500.
Labonte is drifting back. Yarborough passed him a moment ago. Labonte is drifting back, and look who's right behind him now, Kim. That 11 car is Darrell Waltrip.
Let me correct something. 113 laps complete. 113. Pardon. There you see Labonte, and indeed, here comes Darrell Waltrip. Past that smudge over there in turn number 3.
Waltrip is coming. I think that he and Yarborough now are as fast as anyone on the racetrack. Yarborough may be just a tick quicker than anyone, but certainly Darrell Waltrip's car is second quickest.
Waltrip only 2 wins this year, and yet he's up in the point battle. Now, he has been so outspoken about how he doesn't like the system, but this time the system has really assisted him. Here's Bill Elliott. He's won 10 races, and he's having to look up from under coming into the last 3 races of the year.
Very true, Ken. I got to give Darrell Waltrip credit in the fact that he still says he doesn't like the point standings.
He told us, Darrell Waltrip, a little earlier. We're watching 11 and 44 about that. Let's just follow this battle for a moment. Here's Waltrip trying to move in, trying to get a line on number 44 to take over second position. 4-3. Into turn 3. Battle is for second. And Waltrip using a little higher line as they come around out of 4.
Labonte is still trying to run that low groove, and he does seem to have some success doing it in turns 3 and 4. And he has moved up on the racetrack in 1 and 2. And there it looks like in the traffic situation that he was about as good as Waltrip.
2-time champion of this event, 81 and 82. Number 11, Waltrip.
And there's Bodine. He's still not out of this thing. He's right behind them.
At all. We asked Darrell Waltrip about his feelings on this NASCAR point system. This is what he told us.
The system is not going to change. It's been this way before I came along. It'll probably be this way after I leave. I've appealed my case. I've made my points. Made my points pretty good. Made my points, and they're not interested in making any changes in the system. I rest my case.
With anybody on that point system, the best perspective belongs to Darrell Waltrip because he's had it both ways. He's won the championship and he's lost it. The interesting thing to remember about this championship point structure is that there is no big bonus for winning the race. And that was always Waltrip's complaint when he was winning lots of races. He's won more Grand National events in the last 10 years than any other driver, but it's only 5 more points to win than it is to finish second. The alternative to that, if you will, or the incentive to go out and run hard is in the money. Even though Waltrip is leading in the point standings by 20 over Bill Elliott, Elliott leads in terms of the prize money, just from the race first, by about $300,000. Elliott has won almost $1 million just in prize money, whereas Waltrip has only won about $600,000. It's the best of both worlds. The money is the incentive to go out and win the races, but the point system keeps this race tight right down the last race of the year. And right now, Waltrip is the beneficiary of that system.
Thank you, Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center. 120 laps have been completed. We'll have a rundown for you shortly. Here's how they're going. Yarborough, Labonte, Waltrip in the front 3. Bodine 4th, Earnhardt 5th, Elliott in 6th, Ricky Rudd 7th, Bouchard is 8th, Lake Speed is 9th, Richard Petty 10th, Terry Gant 11th, Tim Richmond 12th, Buddy Baker 13th, Bobby Hillin 14th, Rusty Wallace 15th, and Ken Schrader 16th. And we'll try to get you a little further back in the field if possible. We know a lot of folks watching have interest in some of those other teams. Car number 44 gets in with car number 11. Still another time. Terry Labonte. Here he is in that second spot. His dad doing part of the crew work on that team now, and they also have a new man, and Mr. Neal working on that team.
Steve Neal is the crew chief on the automobile now, and this car, 44, has been running at this racetrack ever since they came down. They were here last week in one of the practice days with the new racetrack, the new paving job. The racetrack opened the racetrack for the teams to come down and test. The very first testing day, Terry Labonte was fast. Been fast all week, sit on the pole, and today, as we can see, he's still extremely fast. Not quite as fast as this 28 car, Cale Yarborough right now, but he's still in second spot.
Cale Yarborough, the 4-time winner of the event, 1983 winner Terry Labonte maintaining the second spot, and Darrell Waltrip's won it twice. For the moment, looks like a race that favors previous winners. Those top 3 spots.
Sure does. And Yarborough is running a different line than anybody around the racetrack. We watched him down in turn 1. He's standing on the very bottom of the racetrack. Lets the car drift up just a little bit and brings it out of the corner on the very bottom. And he does the same thing through 3 and 4. And no other car here can keep it on the bottom like Cale Yarborough.
16 cars continue to run in the lead lap. There are 16 machines up there in the lead lap as Cale continues to lead. The Nationwise award for the up-and-comer right now will be resting with their own driver, Lake Speed, out of Jackson, Mississippi. Lake is running 9th overall and in the lead lap. And this is the latest rundown from NASCAR, and they're showing the 6th position as Elliott, the 7th position as Rudd, the 8th position as Bouchard, and 9th as Lake Speed. 10th to Richard Petty, 11th to Harry Gant. They've swapped positions just recently. Going in the 12th position, Tim Richmond. The 13th position, Baker. 14th position, Hillen. And going 15th, Rusty Wallace, with 16th, Kenny Schrader. Those are the top 16 at the moment on the 120-lap rundown from Rockingham. We're back with you at Rockingham, North Carolina. Once again, we're continuing. Cale Yarborough stays out in front. Next Friday starts our regular NBA season on TBS. Boston Celtics, New Jersey Nets from the Meadowlands. The Celtics led by Larry Bird, the great Larry Bird, and it starts at 8:05. Immediately thereafter, Motor Week Illustrated will be with you. Approximately 10:30. Television's fastest half hour in a special extra edition. That's next Friday night on Superstation WTBS.
Well, we'll get to see it on Saturday afternoon, won't I?
Oh, sure. Okay, watch it twice. We'll give you some updates, bring you up to date on some of the later things on but Friday night. Of course, I want to see Bill Walton start with the Celtics. That's going to be something.
It is going to be
He
great.
really likes Boston. Walton really likes it up there, and I think that could just turn it around and bring it back east.
He has had some serious problems in the past few years, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back on the basketball court.
Well, right now, the man on the racetrack is this man, Cale Yarborough, car number 28, as we bring you live coverage of the Rockingham 500. He failed to finish 7 of the first 10 races this year, but in his last 4 starts, look out. Cale has 2 wins and a second-place finish, and he sure looks grand here today.
Boy, nobody can touch him now. He's just driving away from the field. 44, Terry Labonte led the first few laps of the race, the first 50 or 75 laps. Cale took over and is simply driving away.
Over 4-second advantage past the second-place man, Terry Labonte, at this point. Now, there's an unusual situation developing now that I think we should bring you abreast of, and that is there is a power difficulty here in the tower. It started to affect us. We saw our monitors flicker a little while ago, but it has knocked out NASCAR, and Bill Gazaway really has his hands full, the race director, because the power shortage has affected the caution lights around the racetrack.
Yes, down in the pit area, Dave Despain has something for us.
I want to talk a little bit here, Dale Inman, about the lines that these guys are running. We're seeing Cale running down on the bottom of the racetrack. We've seen a lot of guys elect to go high. I'm wondering about the difference in the effect on the car over 500 miles.
Well, Dave, from what I can see, we're going up high on the racetrack and put a few more RPMs on the engine. And in a long race like this, it might just be, though the speeds are not up that much, it might be an extra 100 RPMs that the engine's not going to be accustomed to for 500 miles here.
When you gear the car, when you set up the car for the race, do you have to make a decision going in, or whether you prefer to run high or low, or is it that big a difference?
Well, I think everybody practiced low here, and I don't think nobody dreamed that the groove would go this high this early. We're only 140 laps into the race, and right now they're about 1 lane to the top of the racetrack, and before this race is over, they're going to make it a big racetrack, and that makes for a little bit more RPMs on the engine.
Is it enough difference that if you tried to run up high for a lot of that 500-mile distance, that it might affect the reliability of the car?
Yeah, it could in a 500-mile race, yeah.
This is the longest race on the circuit, you said earlier in the broadcast, even though 500 miles seems like 500 miles. Why is this the longest?
Well, you run 500 laps here, or 492 laps, and it takes relatively 27 seconds, and some of the 500-lap races, like at Martinsville, you run at 22 seconds. That's a long day, too, but it's just a long time for an engine to perform, or a driver, or a brake, anything that you have on the race car.
So the difference then is the time of the race. It's going to take about 4 hours to run this one. They run the Daytona 500 in more like 3 hours. Right now, Cale Yarborough looks like he could sit out there and run all day.
The one thing that this has done, fellows down in the pits and Ken, in the cars moving up the racetrack, it has put 2 distinctive grooves in the corner, and it's taken away all the accidents. Yesterday, we saw a 200-mile sportsman race. They did not move the groove up. There was 10 caution flags for spin-outs, blown engines, and what have you. Today, we've only had 3 caution flags, and the way the groove is right now, we may not see another caution all day.
Benny, we had a full dozen before we got done here. I mean, everybody got a piece of the wall or something out here, and we're 140 laps in. We're 140 laps in with 3 cautions, which is almost standard for a track of this size, and some of the cautions we've seen in the past. They still have 352 laps to go out here, so there's plenty of room for incidents. There's Terry Labonte, and you see the very high line taken by the number 11 car. They come out of turn number 4. They're lapping Buddy Arrington's number 67. That's Waltrip making a move on Arrington as he goes down into turn number 1, but he's using up a whole lot of racetrack and willing for the moment to let Labonte move away from him by about 15 car lengths. He knows there's a distance yet to be traveled.
Yes, he knows there's 350 laps to go. There's no doubt in my mind Darrell Waltrip knows exactly where he is.
You bet he does, and here he comes, and through heavy traffic they begin to close up again. Here's Waltrip cutting that interval down by about 8 car lengths right there. Now he tries to drop it to the bottom of the racetrack. Doesn't seem to want to work there that well.
That's Rusty Wallace, the St. Louis, Missouri driver that Labonte has overtaken down in turn 1 and 2. And there's the other St. Louis driver, Ken Schrader, in the 90 car, the leading candidate for the Champion Spark Plug Rookie of the Year award.
Wallace and Schrader used to beat on each other a lot. Exactly. A lot of stories about those two around Fenton, Missouri. Population 12,000, and they have 2 drivers out here in the field. Yay, Fenton. Number 28, Cale Yarborough first. Terry Labonte second, Waltrip third, Bodine fourth, Earnhardt fifth, Elliott sixth, Bouchard seventh, Richard Petty eighth, ninth is Ricky Rudd, 10th, Lake Speed. Going to 11th, Tim Richmond, up to 12th, moves Buddy Baker. Here's that Schrader car, the Junie Donlevy, number 90. At the bottom of your picture, the blue car, as Terry Labonte gets around him. Schrader, really fine driver. Driven just about everything there is to drive. There's Harry Gant. He's had his problems. He just made an unscheduled stop for 11 seconds and has come back on the track lap down.
Harry Gant has had a long day. He's been fighting the car. He's running high. We talk about the high groove. Harry Gant will go right to the top of the racetrack before this day's over.
He made his wife Peggy pretty happy. They won at North Wilkesboro, which they really consider their home track. And, of course, he had an outstanding performance at Dover, Delaware, and at Charlotte, North Carolina in the race previous to this. He had the field absolutely covered. No one could get close to him, but then the engine went.
You know, these leaders did pit on lap 45, so they've been 101 laps. I would expect to see Yarborough and Terry Labonte coming in the pits in just a few laps, and this will be a scheduled stop, but on the green flag, and some of the other drivers that pitted later may be able to go to a caution flag. So another strategy we have to keep in mind.
Let us remind you, as we watch Darrell Waltrip close in for second place on number 44, Terry Labonte, that the next to last stop, last Eastern appearance of the most competitive automobile racing in the world, the Atlanta Journal 500, Atlanta International Raceway. Don't miss it. Sunday, November 3rd. Be there, and if you can't be there, be here with the Superstation. Here's Waltrip. Little high line there that looked like, and he has closed it down about 3 car lengths.
I tell you what, trying to keep up with who's got the fastest car and who's gaining on who is becoming very difficult, because Waltrip gained a moment ago. He came right up on Labonte. Now, Waltrip has caught back up to him again. Labonte did gain a little bit. Now Darrell is back on his bumper. It just seems to swing like a pendulum on the clock.
Well, you put the word on it right at the top. You talked about tires. That is the issue here today. And some of them are making those tires work, and some, they're still fishing. Here comes Waltrip down to the inside. 2-time Grand National Champion. Takes on the 83 champion. And they begin to get into it. Number 15, Ricky Rudd, pulls on pit road. Rudd, remember, he was running 9th. He's on pit road now. Jeff McDuffie getting overlapped by the second-place contenders. They are 5 2/10 of a second back from the leader, Cale Yarborough. There's Ricky Rudd.
And the fellow reaching inside the car is making a chassis adjustment. That's what he's doing inside the rear of the car there.
14 4/10 of a second, and Ricky Rudd is back on his way. Now, you were watching number 15. Which way do you think they were going?
I think it was probably backing that bolt off, loosening the bolt on the right rear spring, and putting just a little bite in the car.
Here you see this conflict for second place continue. You see Waltrip just letting the back end out a little here as Junior Johnson looks on.
Real nervous, isn't he?
Greatest instructions ever given to a driver. Ones he gave Cale. Asked him what the strategy was. He said, Junior told me, go to the front. Can't be more plainer than that. All right, here you see 44, Terry Labonte, still maintaining that second position. Waltrip is right there, and we're beginning to get into the period when the lead cars will have to pit under green, and this race will be given over to those men who come over the wall. Some tight running down the main straightaway. Seventh place getting a little interesting out here as Bill Elliott comes by. Richard Petty is there. Ron Bouchard all in that conflict. Elliott trying to get sorted out, and you see the number 47. There's Richard Petty. It's now Elliott up there. Richard Petty and Ron Bouchard have switched positions. Petty has moved up into 7th. Bouchard has dropped back into 8th at the present time, and Petty seems to be on the move. At the Rock, North Carolina Motor Speedway. They've completed 153 laps, and we'll be back with more of the action in a moment. At 150 laps, great battle here. Dale Earnhardt has just moved around. Bill Elliott. Earnhardt pulling up to 3rd. Now Richard Petty is going into 4th. Bill Elliott falls to 5th. Pit stops. Cale Yarborough came on pit road for approximately 14 seconds and came back out. Terry Labonte pitted. He came back out. That puts in the lead Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip 1st, Bodine 2nd, Earnhardt 3rd, Petty in 4th, Bill Elliott 5th, Ron Bouchard in 6th. Look at the smoke coming off from Petty's car.
Richard Petty is smoking. I still do not know if it's oil smoke or the tires are coming up and hitting the fender. You know what? I got to give Steve Bell, the crew chief on Labonte's car, credit. It was a long stop. They ran over 100 miles, and a young crew chief like Steve normally would not wait to get the car full of gas. As soon as they changed the tires, he'd send him on his way. But he realizes with the 2 grooves we have on this racetrack, Darrell Waltrip's coming down pit road, with the 2 grooves that we have on this racetrack, that very possibly this thing could go green flag all the way. He's going to need all the gas. He's kept Labonte in the pits. He filled the car completely to the top.
Billy Hagan and Wayne King have really made some changes on that team with Dale Inman leaving. Let's go down to Charlie Harville.
Darrell Waltrip in for a pit stop. His crew is giving him tires on the right side right now, and it looks as though it will be only a 2-tire change. He's got a tank of gas, and he's on his way again. Darrell Waltrip back in the race.
Here's Jeff Bodine coming in on a very slippery track. Here at the Rock, they're doing the shuffle this afternoon as they slide around this track. You saw a little earlier Darrell Waltrip car back in just out of number 4. Of course, Cale's that way all the time. That's just his style. Here's Jeff Bodine on pit road. What a job he did. What a great job his brother did yesterday, Brett Bodine, in the 200.
Looks like he had a little trouble getting away, like the car might have been out of fuel or something. But
we have a battle for the lead right now. Number 43, Richard Petty, and number 3, Dale Earnhardt, are having a dandy time as they go down into turn number 1. There's Richard on the inside. This is for first place with these pit stops taking place. And Richard Petty, give him 5 points for going out in front. Just hold on to it here, Richard, for 1 lap and take that flag. That's Dale Earnhardt in the 2nd position. Bill Elliott's up to 3rd. Ron Bouchard in 4th. I'm sure that now you see the number 3 car of Earnhardt onto the pit road. So Richard stays 1st. 12 car lengths behind him in 2nd is the Bill Elliott car number 9, with Ron Bouchard just behind him in 3rd.
Dale Earnhardt is making an unusual pit stop because I thought that he's made a pit stop the last car out there.
He was out of sync.
But I guess he was out of sync. But Bill Elliott and Richard Petty, with all the problems that they had, will probably be the last 2 cars on the racetrack.
Well, if Petty comes in, I don't believe Elliott's had a chance at any bonus points. That 5 bonus points, he's waiting on Richard to come in. He'd like to get him on the radio, dial him in and say, Richard, how about it?
He would love to get Richard Petty to pit so he could get those 5 bonus points. They mean so much to him.
Need to get an update on the condition of Richard Petty's car from Charlie Harville or Jerry Garrett, either one. You see Richard continuing to put out a plume of smoke every lap, every corner.
I think it's tire smoke. I think that the rear of the car is so low that the sheet metal, the fenders, the quarter pounders are coming out and rubbing the rear tires.
You think if it was dark, we'd see sparks?
No, I don't think the tires are that hard, kid.
Here's number 43, Richard Petty up in front. Number 9, Elliott in 2nd. Live coverage today on the Superstation of the Superstars of American Racing, the most competitive there is. And there you see them for 1st and 2nd place. The great Dale Earnhardt fighting one of the all-time giants, Richard Petty, 7-time national champion, 4-time winner on this racetrack. And I tell you, I'm looking forward to 1986 and seeing Inman and Petty back together again. They're going to give you fits.
I'm afraid they are. Leo, big heart up there in Asheville, North Carolina.
Here they are, side by side. Richard Petty. I tell you, as long as he wants to race, I would buy a ticket to see him run. He or Pearson or any of those superstars are the people that made this sport great. And here he is fighting with Earnhardt, still giving it his best shot, still loving it just as much as the first day he ever drove.
I'm impressed at the way he's handling right now because his tires are worn. Dale Earnhardt has been in the pits. He has new tires. But Richard Petty is able to stay up with him and trying to pass him with his worn tires.
Hey, folks, this is for first place. Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt, we're not even halfway in a race, and they're going at it just exactly as if they were down at Hickory getting at it.
Well, Earnhardt's a lap down, but he's trying to put Earnhardt a lap down in case the caution were to come out.
They're reporting Earnhardt with 1 lap down.
He's not going to be if Richard Petty doesn't get by him. He's going to be on the tail end of the lead lap in a caution flag situation. Dale Earnhardt is able to go all the way around the racetrack and make that time up.
Look at Bill Elliott close up on Richard Petty in the 43. There's
Earnhardt's holding up Richard Petty just a little bit. That's why Richard wants to get by so bad.
Well, there's your battle for Richard. He's still got it. Number 9, Bill Elliott's right there, closing right in again.
And it might mean $1 million of Richard to Bill Elliott if he could just take the lead and get those 5 points.
Oh, yeah. It could come down to that. Remember 79 when Waltrip lost in those last closed races?
11 points.
Finished it in Ontario, California. Now, there's Elliott right back in it again. He wants those 5 points so badly.
Richard Petty alongside Earnhardt again down the front straightaway.
Elliott closes it up. Elliott, of course, won this race a year ago. This is the way around here.
Earnhardt wants to stay in front, but he can't. Richard Petty takes him coming off turn 2.
Back straightaway. Richard Petty first. Bill Elliott right there.
Elliott gets by. Now he has Richard Petty in his sights.
Bouchard's in third, and he's only 8 car lengths back from number 9 Elliott. That's the white car. There you see it. Number 47, Ron Bouchard out of Pittsburgh, Mass. Terrific crowd has turned out on this gorgeous day in North Carolina to enjoy this Winston Cup event. Richard Petty leading. Bill Elliott second. Ron Bouchard in third. Tim Richmond now fourth. Cale Yarborough reported 5th. Boy, those are the 2 cars that got together under caution. When somebody in front just touched the brakes, they smacked each other. All the Elliott fans had their hearts in their mouths for a moment. Richard Petty continued around a lap or 2, came in, did the work, and here they are, battle-scarred, but still fighting for first place. Now they begin to look like half-mile cars instead of super speedway cars. That looks like a Martinsville car out there.
Exactly like a Martinsville car, Ken. This is great. I love the racing we're seeing here today in Rockingham.
Coming down to pit road, third place man, Ron Bouchard, number 47. He will come in for tires and fuel right now. Elliott praying that Richard Petty will decide now would be a good time to come in for a gulp of fuel. Ron Bouchard goes up onto jacks. Questions about that team for 1986. Leaders moving up into lap traffic as they come down off the corner. And number 9, Elliott, gives up the chase. Elliott's coming down to pit road. He will not get the 5 points. He's going to come in for fuel and tires right here.
Butch Stevens, a jackman around waiting on the car. Fuel going in.
Let's go to Jerry Garrett.
Looks like a routine stop, Ken. Looks like Elliott took a drink of water. He's pretty hot in there. It must be terribly hot inside the cockpit. 2 tires, gas. He's on his way rather quickly.
He doesn't want to give this one up. Bill Elliott still means to win at Rockingham today. He's been beaten up and battle-scarred, but he comes right back out as Richard Petty continues to lead. And with the cautions that are taking place, Lake Speed is now being reported in 2nd position from scoring with Cale Yarborough in 3rd. More from the Rock in a moment. Carolina Motor Speedway, Rockingham, North Carolina, the Rock, the 500-miler today, where Richard Petty has just pitted and Cale Yarborough has taken over in 1st place. Record crowd out here to enjoy this spectacular day and this great race. The running of the Rockingham 500 that you are watching live on Superstation WTBS is the major motorsports event of the day. But there's much more happening around the country and the world. To keep you current, we begin a regular feature on these telecasts, the GM Goodwrench Motor Week News Update. And for our first GM Goodwrench report, here is Bob Barsha.
Thank you, Ken. Well, the stars of NASCAR may be here at Rockingham today, but starting next year, they're going to be making more right-hand turns. Officials at Watkins Glen, New York, have announced plans for a new stop on the Winston Cup on the 2.5-mile short road course at Watkins Glen for next year. It'll be the first time back there in 20 years for the NASCAR stars. $400,000 purse, one of the biggest ever. And the name of the event will be the Budweiser at the Glen. You guess who the sponsor is. Elsewhere in motorsports, the sport car crowd is rounding out their racing year down a couple hundred miles from here in Georgia. Chris Economaki has more.
The traditionally big crowds were on hand this weekend at Road Atlanta for the biggest event of the amateur racing season, the Sports Car Club of America National Runoffs. The action for over 500 entries in 22 racing classes winds up today with the GT1 machines, where actor Paul Newman will defend his title. It's been a season of change for the SCCA, with some classes being phased out and some of the old favorites not competing. One such favorite is Jerry Hansen, who is not chasing a national title at Road Atlanta for the first time in 20 years. This is Chris Economaki reporting.
In today's roll from Road Atlanta, Tim Baker, the defending champ in the SSGT class, came from the back of the pack to take his second victory, leading a 7-car Corvette sweep. I'll have more from Road Atlanta and elsewhere in the world of motorsports on our next GM Goodwrench Motor Week Racing Update.
Thank you very much, Bob Barsha. Back here once again, live with you at Rockingham. You're watching car number 11, Darrell Waltrip, who currently is being shown 3rd overall, and Richard Petty right with him in 4th. The leader is Cale Yarborough. Terry Labonte is in 2nd after they made their pit stops. Here's Petty streaking down to the inside as he meanders low on the racetrack, and he looks good.
He does look good, and the fans are on their feet, and they love it. They're loving the racing, and they also love their Richard Petty here in North Carolina. Cale Yarborough, they've made their pit stops. He has a 6.5-second lead.
Coming out is car number 77, Greg Sachs. He's been on pit road. Greg Sachs, number 77, the man that won at the 4th of July race, Daytona Beach, the Firecracker 400. Now you're with the leader, number 28. This is Cale Yarborough. Doesn't need much of an introduction in those familiar colors these days after those tremendous victories in the Daytona 500. A great showing in the last race at Charlotte, North Carolina. And I think they can take a little deeper breath, Waddell Wilson and company, because when the year started, they had to be nervous. They changed from General Motors over to Ford. And right now, they are showing the way once again. Now, this race has been a surprise. Yesterday, a dozen caution flags. Wreck-strewn event. Now we've had 3 caution periods to date, and the race is stabilized. We've had a period where they've run through the green, making their pit stops, getting back on the track. Waltrip running real high, and here comes Bodine looking for him now. Jeff Bodine in number 5. Number 12, Neil Bonnet pulls on pit road. Remember, he was in the first inch of the day, which wrecked Joe Ruttman's hopes in this event. Just destroyed the front of his car. Beat up this number 12 of Neil Bonnet pretty well at the same time.
And got Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty is on the racetrack, but he's about 80 or 90 laps down. Darrell Waltrip talked about stagger in his interview, and the driver that got bad stagger would go to the rear. It looks like that at Darrell's last pit stop that the tire size, the circumference of the tire isn't quite right. He's not able to run like he was just a few laps ago.
190 laps have been completed of the 492 that makes the distance today, and it would appear to me, Benny, that what they're doing is they're settling down some in this race.
They are settling down, and there is a long ways to go, Ken. There's 300 laps to go, and Richard Petty's car is smoking a little bit worse. It may not be the tire rubbing the sheet metal like I thought. He may have an engine problem.
He went around Darrell Waltrip just a moment ago. A tremendous reaction from the crowd, and I'm standing here with Dale Inman, who had goosebumps on his arm. Fun for you guys to run good down here, isn't it, Dale? Well, I guess it's good to see the old man run good, but evidently he come in and changed 4 tires on that pit stop, and that would give him quite an advantage. But he is doing quite well, and it's good to see him run again for SCP, because they certainly need something good for him to happen this year. You and the old man are going to get that back together next year. It's a family reunion. You won 7 championships together. He's been at this an awful long time. Can you two put together another championship threat?
Well, it'll be tough doing that because there's so many young guys out there, so much money and good sponsors and everything. But if we can get our act together and work and have fun with Pontiac and SCP, and I'm sure some good things can happen for us.
Let's go down to pit road and Charlie Harville.
In the pits of the leader, Cale Yarborough, with his crew chief, Waddell Wilson. Waddell, what is the strategy at this stage, less than halfway through the race?
Well, you know, it's a long ways to go. There's still a lot of good cars running in the same lap. And, you know, our car's not 100% by no means. But Cale is so good at Tread Rockingham that, you know, he's just going out there and doing what he knows how to do.
Waddell Wilson, crew chief of Cale Yarborough, leading the race.
Winner of 83 Grand National races, winner of 3 national titles. He did it successively, and now he's back in front another time. He's just putting a lap on Neil Bonnet, a man who's won over $4 million racing stock cars. A long way from the old days of American stock car racing, back after World War II, when you'd race for a steak dinner and a 25-lap main event and think you really had a good night. Here's Neil Bonnet getting down, and all that car is beaten up. It's coming right back up into it. They're putting a lap on Bowman, inside and outside. Hello.
Split the thing, and Bonnet has to back off and let Yarborough in the corner, but I thought that Neil had him coming down the front straightaway. He's trying to get one of those laps back. I think Neil is about 8 or 9 laps behind, but it seems like his car is good today.
Cale did not run this event a year ago. As we mentioned earlier, he's a 4-time winner of it, so he knows his way around. But as Benny pointed out at the top of the program, this is an all-new track for everybody. Every racer out here is a rookie when they come on this track today.
They have no idea what to do there. Bonnet, one more time, he just can't get in the turn quite as hard as Yarborough, but he seems to get off the turn extremely well.
Now, after these pit stops, car 33, Harry Gant, is back in the lap with the leader, but he's on the tail end. And it goes like this. 9 cars in the lead lap. That's your leader, Cale Yarborough. Terry Labonte is right there in second spot. Richard Petty third. Waltrip fourth. Bodine fifth. Bouchard sixth. Elliott seventh. Earnhardt eighth. Gant ninth.
You know, they have Richard Petty on the 4th third, but Dale Inman said that he changed 4 tires. I'd be surprised if he changed 4 tires and is in 3rd spot.
He is back down to the turn number 1. There you see the 33 car, which is on the tail end of that lap, as they scoot down into turn number 3. Very tricky place. I can remember a very bad incident years ago. Wasn't it turn 3 that collected you pretty well in that awful 6-car wreck the year you won the championship?
No, it was turn 2.
Turn 2.
It was turn 3 a couple years later. Turn 1 a couple years after that.
Well, you ended up on the outside of them turn 3. That wasn't the time when you were on the jet. No. When you hit and coasted all the way, didn't coast, you had the car right up in the concrete all the way into 3.
I remember it well.
There is Gant and Earnhardt.
Now we're going to see 2 fellas here that is running. We're talking about the high groove. These fellas are running the high groove. Earnhardt is he is right up on top of the racetrack. And Yarborough is right, look at Earnhardt, right up next to the guardrail.
Gant's just taken 8th away from Earnhardt, relegated him to 9th.
If Yarborough could get by those 2, there'll only be 7 cars in the lead lap.
Now, we mentioned earlier that car, number 7 of Kyle Petty, had gone 75 laps down, and I'm sure a lot of people are saying, well, why go out? Of course, there's the point story, but I think the story of Benny Parsons winning the national championship always in my mind was one of the great moments in motorsport. How many laps were you down? Terrible wreck, 6 cars involved, destroyed your car, and everybody came to your aid because I guess they just liked you.
I don't know how many laps that we were behind, but it took 1 hour and 15 minutes to repair the car. So we had to be 150 laps behind, but we had to run at least 300 laps to win the championship.
Did you really steal the roll cage out of Bobby Monstrover's car? He wasn't here, just happened to find it and borrow it for a while. Was that how it went?
We took it.
You what?
We took it.
You just borrowed it.
We borrowed it, yeah.
Just borrowed it. Here's Bodine closing up on car number 11, Waltrip another time. That's the battle for 4th at the present time. And they do have Richard, they're still showing Richard Petty up in there at the 3rd place car.
Well, Dale Inman will know more about this than certainly we do, or probably even scoring, because I'm sure he has his eye on Richard Petty. The old man, as he called him.
There you see Bodine closing in again on car number 11, Waltrip. Now remember that Kyle Petty really is fighting. He'd like to get some points with 3 races to go, so that if there were only 8 champions, he could fight it out with Ricky Rudd and Bodine to get a seat in that $500,000 Winston race next year in Atlanta, Georgia. That's why they saw the struggle so hard to get him back out there so quickly.
The word from the NASCAR tower is that the power is still out. So there is no caution flags around the racetrack. Very dangerous situation, but at least we don't have a dangerous racetrack right now. So I think that everything's going to be okay, and we can get by the caution flag.
Got a wreck up here in turn 4. caution is out for the 4th time today here in the Rockingham 500 from the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Here's what happened. Craig Spettman, Council Bluffs, Iowa. Carl Anderson Chevrolet came out of turn number 4 and just got himself up in the wall. This is the kind of situation we saw a great deal of yesterday. And in his first Grand National race, he chews up the right side of the car. Now, caution lights did come on around the track. They are just removing the Spettman car at this time. It has allowed the leaders to come back on pit road another time. And here's the other thing it allowed. When they pitted, Elliott stayed out, and Elliott picks up 5 bonus points. Elliott has collected those 5 bonus points that are given by NASCAR for leading a lap. An additional 5 points are given for the team that leads the most laps. It's about the only way you can garner bonuses here under the NASCAR system.
Darrell Waltrip or Bill Elliott are certainly not going to win bonus points for leading the most laps today, but they are even. They both have led a lap.
All right, let's go down to the pits for this report right now.
That caution flag comes out as we pass the 206 lap mark, and that means we're just 40 laps away from the Barclays American Run for the Money. Now, last year they ran this particular promotion, gave away $10,000 on just 3 occasions, and Harry Gant won 2 of them. Well, Harry is out of the picture here today because he's having car trouble. He's got kind of an interesting story developing. Bill Elliott has won that 10 grand award twice. He won it up in Brooklyn, Michigan, and he won it again in Charlotte, North Carolina, making that mid-race sprint for the 10 grand. Cale Yarborough won the first one way back in May at Talladega, Alabama, at that 500-miler. Cale has led the most laps here today, and he's been able to go to the front whenever he wants. He looks like he's in the driver's seat, and if he wins that one, then the 2 Ford boys that are such bitter rivals are going to be tied up at about 10 grand apiece in terms of the Barclays Award.
How do you feel about that 10 grand, Benny?
I think it's a good thing because...
Does it throw your strategy off?
Yes, it does. Because you have to race for that $10,000 again. If you're in a 500-mile race, as we are today, and you have an opportunity to win the $10,000, you better take advantage of it because you never know. At the end of the race, you may not be there. Something may happen to the car. You may have a flat tire. You may be involved in an accident. So you have to try to win the money when you have the opportunity to do it.
The big what if you get in an altercation, get yourself sideways and banged up, was it worth it to go for it at the Barclays American, the halfway mark, if it knocked you out of a win?
Oh, sure. These guys go for that $10,000 just probably worse than the last lap of the race.
Well, Elliott sure did at Charlotte the other day. I mean, it was just zip, and he went by about 3. Ernie just said, I think it's time to crank it up or something.
He said,
wait a minute. Let's go to Jerry Garrett.
We're here with Craig Spettman, the driver who crashed. Craig, what was the problem?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was a ball joint that broke because the car dropped down before it let go. So if it would have been a tie rod, I don't think it would have dropped so hard. And ball joint went, the tire went with no control, just up against the wall, luckily, so I didn't have to hit it too hard.
You're okay, though?
Yeah, no problems at all.
Craig Spettman out of the race.
First time at a Grand National race, and gave it a good ride and then got himself into a fair crunch up here in turn number 4 as that car slithered up to the wall, and you saw the result. It was a real break for all of these top runners. Number 33, Gant, has just pitted, and he's coming back out. We're still showing 9 cars in the lead lap as you take a look at the view of this fantastic racing facility, Mr. DeWitt and Company. While in the Nationwise up-and-coming awards for drivers who have never won a main event, that's a $1,000 prize for just about anything you want off the shelves from the Nationwise store. Ken Schrader, the rookie out of Fenton, Missouri, running 11th overall in the race, is #1 among those up-and-comers on the Winston Cup Tour. 13th overall Lake Speed the second time. Of course, he had that great run. That sponsor came to him the night before the Daytona 500, one of those great stories, and they came out, as you recall, had an absolute blessing in the Daytona 500. They just had a great run.
It was a great story. Harold Kinder gave the fellows a signal last time, 1 lap to go. Green flag is out. They're back to racing.
As they come to the line, 211 laps complete. Scooting down into turn number 1. They're reporting Ron Bouchard in front as they go down into the first turn. Number 47 getting a chance for 5 bonus points here today. I'd like to see Ron Bouchard get himself going, and Richard Petty is closing ground as they go down the back straightaway. 47 is the correct car on the lead, which means the 28 Cale Yarborough would then be second and Terry Labonte in third. And there's a couple of lap cars. 88 Baker just in front of them. The 47 cars way down low. that mean he put a lap on number 3 Earnhardt, Benny?
That's what they're saying, that he has put a lap on Earnhardt. Evidently, Yarborough got by Earnhardt just before the caution came out a few laps ago.
Car number 47, Ron Bouchard. Right in front of him is 88, Buddy Baker, with his own team these days at Oldsmobile. Leading him down by Baker pitting the backside.
Oh, Yarborough got a tough break. He tried to get underneath of Earnhardt coming off turn 4, could not make it. Earnhardt squeezed him down, and 2 or 3 other cars passed him before he could get going again. And he may be off the throttle. He may be off the pace.
Ron Bouchard putting a lap on Buddy Baker in the 88 car. The 27 and the 88 were trying to stay on that lead lap, not to be at this moment, as Ron Bouchard in the 47 has it his way. Boy, he needs a win.
He does need a win.
Of course, his only victory in Grand National Racing in just an absolutely dramatic finish when they came to the line that day, 3 abreast.
I think that was 1981 or 82, and that was a long time ago. Bouchard does need to smell the roses to get himself hyped back up again.
Car number 11 is working his way around into the 2nd position.
3rd spot. Terry Labonte is 2nd right now. Waltrip is 3rd, and Yarborough is 4th. I thought maybe Cale had a problem a moment ago, but if he did, he's got it worked out.
Indeed he does, and you are right. There's the 44 closing right in another time, going for the lead. Terry Labonte. Here's Harry Gant's car and report as this thing is running really loose. The Hal Needham car dancing around the
going high on the racetrack. I saw the crewman under the car on the caution flag a moment. There's Labonte for the lead on the outside, trying to pass Bouchard on the outside down the back straightaway. This is for the lead.
Turn 3. 47 on the bottom side. You can be sure he's trying everything he's got. Tim Richmond trying to get back in that lap. Wheel to wheel. Here they come under the time of the start-finish line.
Dead heat. Maybe Labonte had it by 2 inches.
Give it by just a shadow. Now he pulls out in front a little bit in turn 1, but the bottom side of the racetrack, short way around, belongs to Bouchard. Not to be. Higher side keeps the RPMs up, and car number 44, Terry Labonte, is back in front.
And we can see Yarborough on the underside of Darrell Waltrip going in turn 3, trying to take 3rd spot away. Here comes Richmond trying to get that lap back, trying to get by Bouchard.
Pretty fair developments between 11 and 28 now. There they are, side by side. Turn 1. Outside is Waltrip, inside is Cale, back and forth. Remember that Bodine is 5th, Richard Petty is 6th, Bill Elliott 7th, and Dale Earnhardt is running in 8th. Live coverage from Rockingham, North Carolina, here on the Superstation, as the Winston Cup Tour comes right down to the final races of 1985 this Sunday here at Rockingham. Then the final race of the year, November the 3rd, Atlanta Journal 500. And Sunday, November 17th, the Winston Western 500 from Riverside, California. Back straightaway. There's the 28 car down low, and Cale's trying to make another move. Gant in 33 has pitted his car. Harry Gant is in under green, having trouble with the handle on the Hal Needham team. What a bad break for Travis Carter and company today.
Labonte putting some distance on Yarborough while Cale is back trying to get by Darrell Waltrip. And if he does dispense of Darrell Waltrip, he's got Ron Bouchard to worry about.
Getting down toward the halfway point of this event. Midway in this battle. Marathon, titanic struggle. Yesterday it was pure mayhem out here. Today they seem to be handling it much better. And of course those sportsman cars really wore some rubber in this racetrack.
They did help the racetrack. And Yarborough has taken 3rd spot away from Waltrip. But the thing that I've got to talk about is the drivers themselves. These Grand National drivers, they adjust to circumstances as well as any drivers in the world. Sure, the tire may be too hard, but what choice did the engineers have? They had to bring a tire that was safe, they knew was safe. These fellows have taken that tire, they've adjusted to it, and they're putting on a great show for these fans and for us here on TBS.
Look at Waltrip's car, just drive down low, and then momentum just carries it out. A little push in there, or is that the way he wants it?
I think there is some push in the car. I don't think he can get the thing to turn. He has to go up the top. Yes, we see it go to the top of the racetrack. I think it is a pushing condition.
There you see it. That's the battle that's going on. The 3rd place, I believe, with Cale Yarborough in 3rd, and in the next position back is Darrell Waltrip. As they line up, you have Labonte in the lead, then Bouchard coming next, and then this conflict that continues out here.
Yarborough put some distance on Darrell right now, but So are the other cars putting a little distance on Darrell.
It appears that Ricky Rudd is now a lap down.
Yes, Rudd is a lap down. I'm sure of that.
A lot of folks in Virginia are going to be sad about that. Let's hope he gets a chance to make it back up and give that Bud Moore team opportunity to go for it. Bud Moore said some nice things, one of Gene Granger's column, about the Dover race, where, but for the call, the official, one of those calls, whether the guy's inbounds or out of bounds, it might have changed the whole situation for them and put them up in the standings. Didn't work out, and Bud Moore was very philosophical about it, as was Ricky Rudd. We talked to him the other day. Well, that's racing.
And, you know, that's exactly like inbounds, out of bounds. The Houston Oilers the other day, a bad call against them, but what choice they have? The same thing in Grand National racing. When a call goes against you, you hope that a year or 2 years or 5 years down the road, you get a call for you and against someone else.
Terry Labonte's number 44, the 83 winner of this event, continues to set sail and lead here today at the Rock around McDuffie in the back straightaway. Bouchard, having his best run of 1985, stays in second place. Cale Yarborough running a hard third, and there you see Richard Petty in the number 43 car putting another lap on 15, and still a swirl of smoke coming out of number 43 as he lets off a little going in that corner.
If that is an oil smoke, if that is oil coming out the exhaust pipe, the smoke, he will probably have to add some oil before this race is over, because he only have about 18 quarts, and if he's using it that fast, if it's going out the exhaust pipe that fast, he'll have to add some. He gets by Ricky Rudd.
Here's a note from Jerry Garrett.
We're down here at Terry Labonte's pits talking with crew chief Steve Meal. Steve, how is Terry running right now?
This is the first time we've had 4 new tires on all day, and the car's working pretty good. We're kind of away from traffic, which is an advantage, but Cale Yarborough can run fast. The 11 car Darrell Waller's going to run fast. We got a long ways to go, but we're in pretty good shape.
Last stop, you did not make any chassis changes. The chassis the way Terry wants it?
It's as close as we can get on a hot, slick racetrack. Terry's real good with a car when it's like this.
Okay, well, he's in his element and happy about it.
He sure is in his element. He was some kind of winner out of Corpus Christi, Texas when he began racing. He loves to run up in front. And that car is working for him today. Terry Labonte, the winner in 83, third here a year ago. Pretty good record. He was fourth here in 82, seventh in 81, fourth back in 1980.
Terry Labonte does a great job on tough racetracks. Darlington, South Carolina is probably Labonte's best racetrack, and that is the most difficult racetrack on the Grand National Circuit to get around.
Well, there you see him, winner of $2,664,000 on his Grand National career, leading here in the Rockingham 500 this afternoon. Cale Yarborough about 20 car lengths back. Well, rather, Ron Bouchard about 20 car lengths back, followed by another 20 car length interval to Cale Yarborough in third. More from the Rock in a moment. Just a few laps away from $10,000, 44, Terry Labonte. Tim Richmond has just taken his lap back. There you see the maroon car. He's gone back into the lead lap. Let's go to the pits for this story from Charlie Harville.
In the pits of Cale Yarborough with crew chief Waddell Wilson. Waddell, will you try for that $10,000 at the halfway point? Can you get to the front by then?
Well, Terry looks like he's going to be able to win that because we're 2 seconds behind and we're not gaining that much on him. Whenever we put new tires on our car, it's a little too tight, and he's able to get away from us for a while.
Any problems for you today?
Well, not really. It's just a matter of trying to keep the car adjusted for Cale and the racetrack. And
Waddell Wilson, he won't be able to win the $10,000, he said. What about other people, Dave, the same?
Well, the Barclays American Ward is 10 grand. The run for the money is about to start. We're 9 laps away. Let's go take a look at the situation here. Cale Yarborough is one of the drivers who has dominated that run for the money. He's led a lot of laps here today. Terry Labonte shares that honor with Yarborough. They have been the contenders for it all day long. Whenever they wanted to, they could go to the front. But now, as we check the scoreboard, 8 laps away from a run for 10 grand, Ron Bouchard is the man who may suddenly emerge and make a run at Terry Labonte. The prize is 10 grand. Waddell says Yarborough can't get it. It's down to a 2-man run for Barclays American, $10,000.
Lap 246 will be the payoff. They'll complete 239 this time by, and there's the scramble. Ron Bouchard. Bouchard closing, getting up there, making the scramble. Car number 47 in a tremendous struggle.
He tried to get underneath Labonte coming off turn 4, but Labonte.
Taking another shot at moving through. 5 laps to go. On the inside, it is Bouchard in the 47. On the outside, number 44, Terry Labonte.
But a slow car is there. Labonte looked like Bouchard had him, but a slow car got in the way.
Story is all up on the point as they battle for $10,000 midway point in the event. For the moment, Terry Labonte draws away by about a car or 2 lengths.
4 laps to go.
Counting down for $10,000. Bouchard looked like he was getting looser in the last 2 or 3 laps.
He's been really trying. He's been heating those tires up and getting the car a little bit too loose, trying to get by Labonte for that $10,000.
Closing again is Ron Bouchard at number 47. They come around turns 3 and 4. They lap J.D. McDuffie on the bottom. Bouchard trying to move underneath and does not get underneath Labonte.
2 laps to go.
We've been without power and without picture for a few moments. We're glad to have you back. Still working on the problem. They've had a tremendous power problem here. It knocked out all the caution lights earlier, and now we're getting down to that Barclays prize. Here we come.
$1 lap to go.
$44. Terry Labonte and car number 47, Ron Bouchard, are trying to settle a little $10,000 disagreement here. Terry thinks it should be his. Ron Bouchard feels differently.
Well, naturally, and there's a half lap to go. Labonte has it now. If he can just keep Bouchard behind him for another half mile, he's going to stay right on the bottom of the racetrack. Make sure Bouchard can't get by.
Coming down the line.
Here comes Bouchard.
Bouchard making a tremendous run as they come and get the halfway mark. Labonte by about 3 feet. The blue and white, number 44, just in front of the black, white, and red, number 47. Bouchard on the bottom of the racetrack made his move. He came down to the inside. He closed. He came all the way up to the door, but he couldn't get through.
Oh, what a... You know, I'd say this halfway leader award by Barfus is the most exciting part of the race other than the finish.
So, car number 44 is already $10,000 richer. It wasn't too many years ago. That was about as good as it got on almost any race.
Any race. $10,000 is a lot of money, even today.
We want to apologize to our viewers. There have been some major problems here this afternoon. Earlier, it had raised real trouble for the NASCAR folks down here with their light system around the track, and I guess the same bug just bit us.
Bit us. You know, I've handed a note that if Waltrip and Elliott, we talked about them and their points, their Winston Cup championship battle, if they were to maintain their current position, Waltrip would lead. If the race were over right now, Waltrip would lead the championship by 29 points.
No chance of rain.
No chance of rain.
Labonte first, Bouchard second, Kelly Yarborough third, Richard Petty is staying fourth. Going fifth is Darrell Waltrip, in sixth Bodine, seventh is Bill Elliott, then 8th is Tim Richmond, 9th is Ricky Rudd, 10th is Lake Speed, 11th is Buddy Baker, 12th is Ken Schrader, 13th Dale Earnhardt, and 14th Terry Gant, because we have them at the present time. And we should report to you that there are 8 cars in the lead lap. Tim Richmond has moved back into that lap. We understand our problem is resolved, but we now have picture and voice back to Atlanta. And if you weren't with us at the halfway mark, we had a tremendous battle right to the line. As they came out of turn number 4, car number 44 took the high side, the black, white, and red. The colors of Ron Bouchard's Jack Beebe team went to the inside, and by about 5 feet, $10,000 went into the pocket of the Terry Labonte crew, number 44. Once again, it was a power problem here. Over for the moment. Let's pray we don't have any more this afternoon, Benny. And let's continue to watch this battle as Terry Labonte, the 1983 winner of this event, $10,000 richer already thanks to Barclays American. In front, Ron Bouchard, you see him there in second. It was funny. Bouchard looked like he was having handling trouble, like tires had gone away. He called 4 or 5 car lengths back. I think he knew he had enough power and he felt good enough about himself. I'll let that fellow think he can just wander up there and take it. And then Zippo, when the time came and they told him on the radio, go for it, he came all the way up to the door.
I think greed had something to do with that.
Pure avarice.
Pure, yes.
Well, there you see the number 44 leading. Again, I would remind you that Tim Richmond has made his lap up, and he's back with the leaders. 8 cars running the lead lap, and at an average speed of 115 miles per hour. Terry Labonte stays in first. Bouchard in second. Cale third. Richard, although smacked in the nose, still stays out here in 4th position. Going 5th is Waltrip. Waltrip 5th. In the 6th position, Bodine. In 7th is Elliott. Woo. Little move there that almost sent someone to the wall. Going in the 8th position is Tim Richmond. A lap down, in 9th, 1 lap away, is Ricky Rudd. Going 10th is Buddy Baker. 11th is the Schrader car. They're adding a car here. Just getting word from NASCAR scoring that they're going to put into 10th number 75 Lake Speed, which would move Buddy Baker back to 11th to 12th Ken Schrader. To the 13th position now, Earnhardt, and 14th, the Harry Gant car.
Lake Speed having a great run. Probably the best run that he's had since Daytona in February. Everything was on a high when that team left Daytona, Lake Speed and his crew. But right now, this is probably the best run since February. I can't imagine. I can't believe how well they're running today.
13 lead changes among 8 drivers thus far in the Rockingham 500 from this mile track in North Carolina. More coming to you right after these words. Here you see Richard Petty. What a race he's having. Although battle-scarred, he's up in 4th place, and he seems to be closing, Benny Parsons.
He is closing. He is closed on the leaders, and right now we're trying to get a separation between he and Cale Yarborough, but I'm sure that it isn't more than a couple of seconds. And he was 4 or 5 seconds behind a moment ago. The last 10 or 15 laps gained 2 or 3 seconds on the leaders.
What's the lap on your little brother out there, Phil Parsons?
Yes, he's only 1 second behind.
Car number 8 is putting up a lot of smoke. Apparently, he ricocheted off the wall. He's coming around. That's Bobby Hillen, who won that Nationwise Up-and-Comers Award, was a leading contender today. Here he is. There is no caution on the track. He kissed the wall, and he's all right. Car number 44 coming in, number 8.
Looks like he backed in the wall.
Number 8 on pit road. Boy, he really took a lick, too.
Yes, he almost spun around and backed the thing in the fence and knocked the rear bumper down like that.
Again, we want to apologize to our viewers. We're having some technical problems. We're having major power difficulties here today. And that bug is missing everything along the top row here. And for the moment, it's hit us. Bear with us. We're getting it back under control. There's your leader, 44. Terry Labonte stays up in front. But he's beginning to have problems with Ron Bouchard. And Cale Yarborough is also closing. We're headed for a 3-way battle for the lead, and only about 1.5 seconds to 2 behind that is Richard Petty in the 4th spot. Now there is the 44 car. Ron Bouchard stays right in there. I'm surprised to see Bouchard. You know, 17 races. There he is. He's run this year, and he just hasn't done well in any of them. But now he seems to have things turned around. 17 races in 85, no wins.
Tom Higgins in the Charlotte Observer this morning said that in practice yesterday afternoon, the last practice session before the race, that Ron Bouchard had the fastest practice lap of the afternoon, and there he's taking the lead from Labonte coming off turn 2.
He's had a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th, and right now he's going for 1st. Bouchard looking really stout. Here comes Cale, and the handle's gone away on the 44.
All of a sudden just went away completely. He's went back to 3rd spot, lost 2 spots.
Right behind this trio comes Richard Petty. There you see the 43, top of your picture. He's moving in. It's been a long time for Petty since a win. He picked up that 200. down at Daytona. He would really like to pull that together today. Long time without a victory for Richard. Here he is, back straightaway. You wonder how long it'll go as it continues to smolder like that.
Well, Richard's coming. Now, he's probably gained 15 car lengths on him in the last couple of laps while we've been talking about it, Ken.
He's lost in 39 straight races. Say that's his third longest losing streak. Now he's trying to straighten that out. There's your leader, Bouchard from Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Number 47, Race Hill Farms Racing Team. Got this team in. That is a New England racing organization. Cale is right there in second. The pride of Sardis. He's, for the moment, losing a little ground. 47 drawing away.
He's not gaining on Ron Bouchard.
Waltrip is fifth.
There's Bobby Hillin coming back in the pits. He changed tires a moment ago, and obviously the fender is still rubbing that rear tire, and they're going to have to do some more work on it.
Darrell Waltrip back in fifth. Bodine is in sixth. Jeff Bodine has his hands full these days with Darrell Waltrip. Watching Bobby Hillin, trying to get him back in, and here's Jeff Bodine in car number 5, taking Waltrip, moving up a spot. Jeff Bodine into fifth, Waltrip back to sixth, and look at Waltrip take the high line. Really uses the elevator.
When the cars are not handling, these drivers are going right to the top of the racetrack.
Well, let's go to Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center for a moment. How are things there, David?
Well, things here are quite cheerful indeed, Kenley, because this guy, Dale Inman, is thoroughly enjoying the performance of his driver for next year, Richard Petty. We've been watching Richard storm around this racetrack. Dale, what's the secret? What combination have they found?
Well, I've been watching Richard, and truly he's running real good, and it's real unusual that Richard would be running low, because normally he has high line. But that smoke coming out of his car, like Benny's talked about for a lot, I'm not sure where that's tire smoke or where that's coming out the engine. I'm afraid it's coming out the exhaust pipe, like Larry Pearson said yesterday. And if that continues, I don't know where the car would take it or not.
So you got real concerns about his ability to run the whole race, but the engine doesn't seem to be weakening at all. He's run right up there and caught the leader.
Yeah, but when those bearings see a little bit of air in that oil, they don't last long.
Well, of course, there's another issue, Kenley, on this car, and that is that Richard Petty has used up all of the good tires that they have over on their backstretch pit area. They've used up every set of tires that they have here, keeping that car up front, and they're scrambling around trying to borrow tires. Dale, do you have any theories on why those tires, which everybody says are so hard, are wearing out for that particular team?
Well, I don't think they're wearing out. I think they probably didn't have enough set of tires mounted for the entire race. They've been on several cautions. And to get the tire stagger right, they might be some tires they couldn't use. And plus, they're on the backstretch, and I don't know how good a service they're getting on getting the tires be mounted over there.
What can they do? What are their options? They can't run out to the local gas station and buy a stand. Is there anything they can do?
Well, they're doing the right thing. They're trying to measure, they're trying to borrow some tires and get the right stagger. I'm sure they got some new tires, but they're just not matching up like they want them to.
272, you've got Kyle Petty spun up against the fence. There is no caution coming out. There you see Kyle from the helicopter. 273 laps down. Now caution is coming out. 219 laps remaining as caution comes out for the 5th time today. Richard Petty maintaining 4th position, and truly a go or blow situation for Richard Petty. The engine is right on the edge. You can see the smoke continuing to bellow from the automobile, but the gamble is what the heck. You might as well go out and go for it as long as you can. You can't baby it with as much distance as there is left in this race.
You can't. He might as well go for it, because there's no point. The engine may make it, and he's got to take the chance that it will. There's no point in quitting now just because he has some smoke.
That picture coming from up in the 4th turn, where Kyle Petty's car, remember he was running many laps down, has brought out another caution period. Ron Bouchard continues to lead now, number 7. Gets itself straightened around, and the Wood Brothers car coming around, coming into the pit, still looking for that first win, and look how battle-worn that one is. Ron Bouchard first, Cale Yarborough second, Richard Petty third, and those leaders will take the opportunity to come on pit road. More in a moment. Ready for a restart. 278 laps complete. Coming to the line, it'll be number 44, Terry Labonte in first. Number 47 is in second. Bouchard, Cale Yarborough in third. Darrell Waltrip in fourth. As they slide down into turn number 1, Jeff Bodine runs next. Bill Elliott, Richard Petty, and on the tail end, Tim Richmond. Away and flying into the back straightaway. Number 44 sets his sights on first, and Bouchard's trying to take it away as they go into the third turn. Down low, 47 working on the inside, trying to retake the lead is Ron Bouchard. Terry Labonte fends him off again, and it's Cale Yarborough in third, putting another lap on Ricky Rudd. It's coming to you live from Rockingham, North Carolina, the $335,000 500-mile race. Let's see if we can get a quick word from Charlie Harville in the Richard Petty pit.
Mike Beam, Richard Petty's crew chief. Mike, you're smoking. Why the smoke?
The left rear's rubbing a little bit on corn panel. Somebody got into him, and it's rubbing, but if it's not really, if he hits the groove just right, it won't smoke. It really is no danger, you know. NASCAR, they've been on to him a little bit, but I think it'll be okay because it looks fine, you know. I was going to try to get it off, then they gave one lap to go, so we're just going to wait till next stop to cut it off.
All right, only tire smoke coming from Richard Petty's car. No trouble internally.
Here's Richard Petty down under Bill Elliott. Petty trying to pick up still another spot as he moves up through. Elliott fends him off for the moment as they go back into turn number 1. Elliott and Petty battling for 6.
Richard is able to keep his car on the bottom of the racetrack. Only he and Cale Yarborough have been able to run down there that way all day.
Battle for the lead. 44, 47, 28. Labonte, Bouchard, Cale Yarborough all in there. And here comes Cale up on the outside.
Rudd on the inside of Bouchard.
Trying to get his lap back. Just behind the front 3, 5 car lengths back. 43, Petty is on pit road. Something amiss, and he's going right back to the garage area. That's more than a tire problem. Engine went away on car number 43, and Richard Petty is now out of it.
What a tough break for Richard Petty. A great run today.
Leaving 7 cars in the lead lap, leaving 4 cars within just car lengths of each other as they continue to wage war at the Rock. 44, Terry Labonte staying up in front. 284 laps complete this time by. For the man that's won over $5.5 million. Nobody holds 1 penny against him. Richard Petty is out of this race, and now it's 40 races without a victory for Richard.
Well, 3 laps ago, we heard Mike Beam say it was tire smoke, and Dale Inman, you said, well, maybe I'm not so sure about that, but you didn't want to say that on the air. What do you think happened? Well, I've been watching the car for a pretty good while, and he did change his groove around. He would smoke sometimes low and sometimes high, but when on that restart, he did have a lot of smoke come out of the car. And we watched Larry Pearson yesterday in a sportsman race, and he liked about 12 laps finished. It was a similar situation for him, and of course Richard did make it to the halfway mark, but it was doubtful whether the engine would make it or not. Richard Petty, one of 2 drivers who has run every race here at Rockingham, is in the garage, apparently of a lone motorist.
Battle for third. 47 Bouchard, the challenger, number 11 Waltrip, battle for the lead. Cale Yarborough, bottom side, high side, 45 Labonte. Great racing today here at Rockingham on the Superstation Live. And you see Cale get a little sideways.
Got the car sideways trying to get by. That's just how hard he's trying to get by. He wants that lead. He went in the corner. The car was, he knew it was going to go a little bit sideways. He jacked it sideways anyway. Stood on the throttle, was unable to get by now, but he's trying them again down the back straightaway. We've got 2 great races. There's Bouchard and Waltrip, and then from the lead, Yarborough and Labonte.
Oh, just door handle to door handle. Cale on the inside, Terry Labonte on the outside. One of the Grand Masters. Such a joy to watch Cale Yarborough do what he loves to do best. Here he is going into turn number 1. Terry Labonte on the high side, riding the rail and right down low. Car number 28 nestles on the bottom. Looking for a place to run, comes around Bobby Wowak. Remember, that's the car that dropped the wheel at 74.
He's back on the racetrack now.
He doesn't drop another one. Terry Labonte staying first. Cale comes back to the inside. Oh, this is a screamer, and everybody's standing up. It's great racing today. Side by side another time. Meanwhile, Waltrip has taken over in third. Bouchard has fallen to 4th. There they are, 3rd and 4th.
Yarborough led that last lap, and he's trying to get the lead down the back straightaway. But Labonte comes back on the outside. He won't let Cale go. Side by side in turn 3.
Cale must be very, very confident about this race car. Got a long way to go, and he's willing to ride wheel to wheel with anybody out here to show that Ford, prepared by Waddell Wilson, can take on all comers at any time and deal with them. But as he puts the hammer down, the trigger cocked on 44 for a moment, he just shot the bullet out in front. Now it goes back the other way, and everybody's watching this battle up in front.
Yarborough has it.
Packed house in Rockingham, North Carolina. Look at Ricky Rudd trying to make his lap up. Boy, you give him just A+ for a lot of spunk and a lot of moxie. Number 8, Bobby Hillen, is retiring his car. Bobby Hillen, Midland, Texas campaigner, has just gone back to the garage area. Whoa! Labonte way high.
He went in the corner, Ken, could not hold it, had to go up. That's give Ricky Rudd the opportunity that he needs. Jumped alongside, and he's alongside going in turn 3.
When you have to make the second cut on the steering wheel at that speed with that much weight going the other way, tough. Kyle Petty still out there chugging, still trying to score points. Kyle running 70 laps or more down. As they run at the present time, Cale is first, Terry second, Waltrip third, Ron Bouchard in fourth, Tim Richmond is now up into fifth spot, number 27 in the late report. 27 is on the move.
He is on the move. You know, he passed all the leaders a moment ago and stayed in front of them until the caution flag came out and got his lap back. So he is one of the quickest cars on the Speedway. 200 laps to go.
Long way to go and a long time to get there on this mile track. I mean, this takes everything that you have, all the mechanical ability, all the starch in any driver to run this distance.
Stamina. The drivers have to be in good shape.
There you see Richard, and he is in good shape. And there's Jeff Bodine, who is in just as good shape. Worked pretty hard at that. He's in sixth spot at that number 5. 27. Tim Richard is in the 5th position overall, running the lead lap. Jeff Bodine right behind him, the Rick Hendrick car. Pretty good scrap, and they say this Richmond in the last 4 or 5 laps, anything he wanted, he could take.
They're going to be teammates next year, according to Joe Rutman.
That's right. Heard it here first. 5 seconds down from the leader. That battle right there. They're 5 seconds back from the leader, Cale Yarborough. It's been a long time without a win. Now you see Cale around Jimmy Means another time. We're at North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. We're with you live on the Superstation. Coming November 3rd, the Atlanta Journal 500 right here on Superstation WTBS. Live fly-to-fly coverage will be on the air at 12:35 Eastern. Dale Earnhardt won it last year. Let's see what he'll do. There's Rudd trying again to get a lap back on 44. Sunday, November 17th. Decision maker, Riverside, California, the Western 500. We'll see it here. There is Darrell Waltrip, car number 11. He is in 3rd place. 2-time winner of the event.
And right in front of him is second place, Terry Labonte.
Here's Jerry Garrett.
Richard Petty, the winningest driver at Rockingham. Close today, but no win. I didn't read. Close today, you were real competitive.
You know, run high, run low, and it just really worked good. It didn't run that fast down the straightaway, but corners was making up difference. What was getting us was behind, was they having caution flags. We had to pit on the back stretch, and everybody else pitting on the front. They got to pit and get on the racetrack before we did. Once we run through everybody, get back up 3rd or 4th, they have another caution, have to go back to 8th and 10th, work your way back. So the car was really working.
Working good. If we could ever started up front with them, I think we would really been right with them. What do you think broke? Broke the rod, I think. I think a bearings went out at first. Tough day for the King.
Bill Elliott now in 7th. Richard Petty out of the race. This is the battle that's going on for 2nd place. And there goes Waltrip into 2nd. Elliott is 7th. Leader, Yarborough. Now Waltrip for 2nd. Terry Labonte for 3rd. And seemed like a relative easy move when he got around to go through.
Labonte has lost the handle. This set of tires that Terry has on his car right now is not working for him. We talked about staggered tire size. It is so important on these cars. 1/4 of an inch of circumference makes a big difference, and these tires are 90 inches around. So if anything that close is very difficult for these crew chiefs to come up with the right tires all the time.
Boy,
Once again, we have lost our picture apparently due to the power problems that we're having here at Rockingham. Dale Inman, it's a good thing we don't run electric race cars or this thing would be on dead hold, but now it appears that for the moment we are back and we are watching Darrell Waltrip at the moment. He is running in third place, and that is about 4 to 5 positions, given the laps, they're changing with every lap, but 4 to 5 positions ahead of his rival for the championship, Bill Elliott, and that is the second biggest story of the day, I guess. We had this tremendous battle up front all day for the lead. Both Waltrip and Elliott have been able to lead the race and pick up a 5-lap bonus for them, but consistently here today, Darrell has had the advantage. Bill hasn't been able to keep up. Would you relate Elliott's problems to that early crash, or do you think they've got that sorted out?
Well, I think Bill is running real cautious now. He's running an 8, but the first 8 cars are real close. Lake Speed's having a very good run. He's moved up some positions, but right now, you know, Cale is on the point, and Tim Richmond has made up his lap, and he's moving. So the first 8 cars are right now at this point in the race are real even.
When you've got still, well, let's look at it, a little over 200 laps to run in the event, a little under 200 laps in the event. At that point, if you were in Bill Elliott's shoes, would you feel like you still had time to do what you wanted to do? Would you be content to sit back there in 8th, or would you be worrying about Waltrip up there?
Well, I'm sure he would like to be running a little further up front, but he's in good shape right now, and Waltrip is, they're all slipping and sliding around, but it seems like everybody's pretty well even right now. I'd like to see the race go without any more cautions, and I think that would be more fair for everybody concerned with the point situation.
Well, all those caution flags that we've had early in the event have prompted the safety crews here to come back into the infield and reload the pickup trucks with the speedy dry that they use to clean up the racetrack. It's been a bit of a bloodbath here mechanically as the cars have taken their licks on this racetrack, and your guy Richard Petty most recent to go out with that broken rod. Are you looking forward to getting back with Richard next year and renewing that great relationship?
Well, this is quite different being on television and watching the race instead of working one, but I tell you, the crews have really had their hands full today, because one time you'll see the cars run low, and the next time you'll see them run high, and I know the drivers don't want to do that. They just have to go where the tire stagger letting them go at this particular time. And the crew chiefs really can't do nothing about it. They can adjust, but then when the tires grow different, the drivers just have to take the cars where they need to go. And like Benny's related to, it's the first time in a long time we've seen the cars run high and low.
So it's about as helpless a situation being on television or being a crew chief. It's the same thing. All you can do is sit back and watch, huh?
Well, like with power failure, wasn't nothing we could do about it.
Let's talk about this Elliott crew a little bit, Dale. You've seen all the great teams in stock car racing history. This is truly a family operation. What impresses you about these guys, and what do you think maybe they still have to learn? What will they gain with more experience in this game?
Well, the Elliots have been under pressure all year. They started out in one Daytona, which was a big plus for them, and then that immediately put them in the running for the Winston Million, which they did come back and win. And right now, they're behind in the point lead. That might have took a little pressure off of them, but I'm sure there's too many cars between them and Darrell right now. But they have had pressure all year, and I think they've handled it real well. And I wouldn't doubt that they don't really get tough for this situation before the season's over. And I kind of look to them to win the championship.
That's Bill Elliott going after Jeff Bodine, a race for 7th and 8th here. Elliott, of course, racing for the Winston Cup Championship.
They moved that up a little, and now it's 6 and 7, with Jeff Bodine in the 6th and Elliott in the 7th position. That gashed up number 9, and that persistent Bill Elliott staying right in there and continuing to wage war. We now have completed some 309 laps this afternoon here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway, and as the laps trickle away, 183 remain. And there is the number 27 car, which is running just in front of them in 5th. Bodine has closed up a little on Tim Richmond here. Got a 3-way battle going for 5th position. There you see Tim Richmond, then you see Bodine, and then Bill Elliott, all back there struggling and trying to gain themselves another spot or two in this race. Cale Yarborough in number 28, Waltrip in number 11 are 1st and 2nd, with Terry Labonte going back into the 3rd position.
The advantage just seems to swing back and forth from car to car. Tim Richmond, a few laps ago, the fastest car on the racetrack. Now, as you mentioned, again, Jeff Bodine, Bill Elliott has chased him down. There is Harry again. And I want you to watch again just how high the Skull Bandit is running in the corner. He goes in the turn. He has to be running now. Look at him. Right up to the outside retaining wall. Just as right at on the edge of the gray stuff. He comes off the corner, and he does the same thing down in 1 and 2.
Handrail Harry.
Handrail Harry. You know, I knew if anybody was going to get high on the racetrack, it would have to be Harry Gant. Look at him. Up in turns 1 and 2.
He's won a lot of races. I saw him win Dover that way. Just hung it up on the outside, motored around you guys.
He does. He runs. If there's a high groove, believe me, Harry Gant is going to be there. Look at him. Oh, he gets it sideways up there. A little bit too high that time.
If anybody can get it back, it'd be Harry Gant. So Cale Yarborough continues to lead. Waltrip is in second. Terry Labonte in third. Ron Bouchard with a great run in fourth, and more from Rockingham after this. It is the capacity audience watching Cale Yarborough of Sardis, North Carolina, who first won this race in 1970 and won it 3 more times thereafter. Continue to dominate at this point over Darrell Waltrip in second, Terry Labonte in third.
You know, Cale would be offended if you moved him up to North Carolina because he's proud of that South Carolina state.
317 laps complete. If we get him in the wrong state, we're in deep trouble.
Deep trouble. And I tell you what, these other competitors are in deep trouble, Ken, because he has motored away. Terry Labonte lost the handle on this tire setup. Darrell Waltrip second place, and Cale just slowly creeping away.
One car running slow on the backside. I think it may be Bobby Woak's car, which will pit. It will not bring out a caution. Cale is seeming to get a little advantage here. He's drawing away from the second place car, building up a little bit of an interval.
The only car that seems to be holding its own with Cale right now is Ricky Rudd, another Ford. Bill Elliott is back with some other car. There's Woak coming in. That's the car that we saw lose the tire early in the broadcast, win the garage area, made the repairs, but back in the garage area one more time.
Reviewing a little further down in the standings as they've been reported. Car number 77 is getting up in here. Greg Sachs. Remember, he fell way off the pace. He's now reported back up into 15th, 3 laps down. Getting ready to make a tire change there.
Greg Sachs had some problems earlier on. He made a pit stop and did not stop in his pit or something, and they said he made up a lap. They black flagged it. So then on the restart, he tried to get a good start on the restart. They said he jumped some cars on the restart. They black flagged him once again. So of the 3 laps that he's behind, I think that NASCAR has probably taken a couple away for too aggressive driving.
Well, there you see Bill Elliott in car number 9, who continues in 7th place at the present time. Earlier, we had a chance to talk with Bill Elliott about how he was going to cope with this very dangerous, tricky track.
If I can keep my mind on what I'm doing and keep my nose out of trouble, I'll be all right. Because in this race, it's always noted for trouble. Even before the resurface, when they had the Bear grease on it, it was a 1-lane racetrack, and right now it still is a 1-lane racetrack. So to me, it's not really changed.
That was 1 day ago, before the Sportsman race yesterday of 200-mile duration, and that's changed a little.
It has changed.
Dangerous, but it's a 2-lane.
It's a 2-lane racetrack. These cars, you can run almost as fast around the top of the racetrack as you can the bottom. And we have seen today some excellent side-by-side racing all the way around the Speedway. I think it looks to me like the repaving job has been worthwhile.
I think we can review a little further back for you. We talked about the fact that 77 had been scored in the 15th position, Greg Sachs. Let's review back from the top 10 for just a moment. Harry Gant was in the 10th position. Dale Earnhardt, 11th. 12th was Buddy Baker. Then another lap down, 2 laps down, was Rusty Wallace in 13th and Tommy Ellis in 14th. Then the 15th position was the Sachs car. In the 16th position was your brother Bill Parsons. And showing up in the...
That's Alan Kulwicki.
Yeah, that's the mate car, that other... Yeah, the ASA runner.
Al Kulwicki was the champion of ASA last year. Very good runner from up in the Midwest.
And he's determined to make it in Grand National Racing. No question about it. He wants this bad. There you see Ricky Rudd. And there you see Alan Kulwicki.
Yes, it is.
He's a determined young guy, and the kind of campaigner you like to... He looks a little like Greg Sachs.
He does. You know, we're getting a lot of Midwesterners and Northeasterners coming into Grand National Racing today, and I think that's good. We talked earlier about Rusty Wallace, Kim Schrader, both from Fenton, Missouri, and Alan Kulwicki, I don't know what city he's from, but he's someplace up in the Midwest. Greg Sachs, Long Island, New York.
Ricky Rudd in car number 15.
There's Rick.
There's third place, Terry Labonte.
Terry Labonte, third place. We mentioned as I mentioned a moment ago, it looks like that this tire combination he has on, the car does not handle quite as good. I'm sure that the crew is anxious to get them off, get some more on.
You know, one of the things that's become a tradition in this series over the past several years has been the Goodies Award. Those folks down around Salisbury that make the headache powder, and they give an award. It's voted on by the press, and they have 65, 70 members of the press here today, and some 30 or 40 laps to finish. They'll be trying to decide who should get the headache award. That usually doesn't go to somebody who has a serious problem, but if you have a real serious problem, one gets badly injured. There's Bobby Hillen, and there is certainly a candidate for the award today. Here he is trying to get back out here. I think if anybody would be a leading candidate right now for the Goodies Award, it'd probably be Kyle Petty, or they might split it between the Petty family the way things have gone.
Richard Petty, I think, right now would be a hands-down victor. But in the last 3 races of the year, if Bill Elliott or Darrell Waltrip should have any problems, they will win the Goodies Award.
In fact, they ought to get the grand prize.
Yes. They might win a year-long award. That's right.
There you see Cale lapping Phil Parsons. That's the Roger Hamby car.
Yes, it is the Roger. Some people would wonder why that they see Phil Parsons at some races now in Atlanta. On the next WTBS broadcast, you will see Phil driving car 66, and it looks identical to that. It's 2 different owners. This is Roger Hamby's car 17, and he will be driving the Precision Products car in Atlanta, the car 66.
Scoring has helped us and given us a few more positions back for you. 18th position is now Eddie Bierswale, and the 19th position is Buddy Arrington. The 20th position belongs to Dave Marcus, and the 21st position to Jimmy Means. Cale Yarborough, number 28, maintaining his lead and for the moment drawing away in the Rainier Lundy Ford automobile. Cale Yarborough gave us a few candid comments on the length of this race.
A 500-mile race is absolutely too long on a mile racetrack. It just takes too long to run it. It just wears everything down, you know, car and driver and crew and everybody. I think it'd be a much better race if it was at least 400.
Those are the thoughts of Cale Yarborough about running 500 miles. I think there's a lot of drivers that share that feeling. How about you, Benny?
Well, you know, we've been running here for about 3 hours, and there's 170 laps to go.
There's the second-place man, Darrell Waltrip, trying to do something about closing, and so far it's gone all 28's way. We'll be back with more from Rockingham after this.
Promotional fee and consideration paid by Barclays American.
Barclays American loans money for bill consolidations, boats, cars, and Barclays American has a track record to prove it. Way to go, Otis.
Wrong number. And by Skoal Bandits, the convenient way to go smokeless with a great taste of wintergreen or mint. That's Skoal Bandits. And by STP. For nearly 3 decades, America has been driving and winning with STP.
We're with you at Rockingham, North Carolina Motor Speedway, as the laps begin to trickle down in this event, and watch Cale Yarborough out in front with Darrell Waltrip in second, Terry Labonte maintaining the 3rd position. By some 7 seconds now, Yarborough has this race contained. Can he stay there? At least a couple more pit stops before this one is over for fuel and rubber, and that could change everything out here. Bill Elliott, still a major contender. He's getting ready for a fight with Jeff Bodine. There you see the second-place man, Waltrip.
The Fords, Ken, do not get quite as good gas mileage as the Chevrolet, so it's very possible. I don't know exactly where the last pit stop was made, but it's possible that the Chevrolets could get by on 1 stop, or GM cars, I should say, and the Fords would have to make 2 stops.
Terry Labonte 3rd, Ron Bouchard 4th, Tim Richmond 5th, Jeff Bodine in 6th. Let's go to the GM Goodrich Motor Week News Center for this update with Bob Barsham.
And a couple of weeks ago, Great Britain's Nigel Mansell won his first ever Grand Prix at home at the Brands Hatch Circle in England. Well, at the controversial South African Grand Prix in Kyalami, Mansell has made it 2 in a row. 100-degree heat at the Kyalami circuit knocked out all but 7 cars in the event, with Mansell's teammate K.K. Rosberg making it a 1-2 sweep for that Williams Honda team. The Formula One circuit will wind up 2 weeks from today in Australia, and we'll be bringing you live updates on that race from Atlanta International Raceway. Yesterday here at Rockingham, the brand new resurfaced track that you're watching gives so many problems to these Grand National stars, got its racing baptism at the hands of the NASCAR Late Model Sportsman Series, and it was one wild race. Early on in the event, young Brett Bodine appeared to have the field covered. but the slick track and hard tires were causing problems for those back in the pack. We'll have that report for you. Morgan Shepherd took a shot. He crashed, but was able to come back and get into the Grand National race today. Turn 2 took its toll all day long. Modified star Brett Hearn crashed in number 20 after his car lost grip on the backside. A multi-car shunt brought out one of 10 yellow flags on the day, which accounted for 54 of the 197 laps in the race. Larry Pearson, David Pearson's boy, used solid pit strategy to lead late in the event, but his engine went away, and at the end, Brett Bodine finished the race just where he started it, on top. Jimmy Hensley came home 6th in that race. Jack Ingram 10th. Ingram's lead over Henley is now only 39 points as they go into the last event of that LMS series at Martinsville, Virginia in a couple of weeks. I'll be back with more results and motorsports news on the GM Goodwrench Motor Week Racing Update later on in our program.
As we watch live the action here in the Rockingham 500, pretty good battle beginning to develop a little further back. We have now completed 345 laps. They come by this time, and Bill Elliott is putting the charge on Jeff Bodine.
And Harry Gant's putting the charge on Bill Elliott. Harry's running that high groove, and he's ran Bill Elliott, Jeff Bodine down, so it's working for Harry Gant. But look at Elliott get alongside Bodine off turn 2.
7th and 8th right there. Gant back in 9th. Number 5. Bodine running 7th. Here comes Gant, and look at that high groove work for him. Elliott to the bottom side.
And they just can't get enough momentum off the corner to pull alongside Bodine down the straightaway and get position on him.
Gant gets a great view.
He may have position on him this time.
Seems to have it, but Bodine just jumps off that second corner. Had more. This time, however, Elliott's down on the bottom, and he seems to be sticking there, and he's going to try to pull that spot out on a 4. Bill Elliott moving up another spot. Remember, that's the other half of that challenge for the championship, and there goes Bodine back on the outside as they come up on Trevor Boyd.
Use that slow car. Bodine had no, Elliott had no choice but back off because Trevor Boyd was there blocking his way.
Harry Gant stays down lower then. Not for long. Hello.
Right up the hill the car went.
It just doesn't look like it wants to work on the bottom at all, and then all of a sudden he gets it right to the very top, and he gathers it up and keeps on going. They keep waiting for him to make contact with something. Not here. Bodine, 6th. Elliott, 7th. Correction. Bodine, 6th. Elliott, 7th.
Bill's trying again one more time. You know, he wants by, but he can't take too many chances because he has the championship, the points championship to think about. He can't get involved in an accident with Jeff Bodine and eliminate himself.
Elliott has the run on the bottom, and he seems to have the spot covered. Let's go to Charlie Harville.
Jeff Hammond, crew chief for Darrell Waltrip in the Waltrip pit. Jeff, are you playing it safe, or are you trying to win the race?
Well, right now, Charlie, you know, we're still trying to win the race. The car's working good. Tail's awful strong, been strong all day long, but we still got a lot of racing to go here, so we're going to make a few more adjustments, we hope, and we'll get another caution flag, hopefully, and make those adjustments we feel like it's necessary, and I think we got a darn good shot at winning this race, and that's what we're planning on doing.
You're saying adjustments, you mean chassis adjustments at this late stage?
Well, the track has changed a little bit more here in the later stages, so we're going to have to kind of wait and see what happens here in the next 100 miles. The last 100 miles is going to be real critical. It's kind of too early to say right now what's going to happen. Clouds have been coming over different times of the day. Track's cooled off and it gotten hot again. So we've been kind of chasing the racetrack a little bit. So make a little minor chassis adjustment, maybe a different tire stagger combination, and go from there.
That's Jeff Hammond, Darrell Waltrip's crew chief, and some insight in his strategy.
Waltrip running 2nd, and as Elliott in car number 9 pulls away by about 20 car lengths from number 5 of Bodine. If this race were to end right now, Waltrip would lead going to Atlanta by about 40 points.
Is that right? That's quite a game for Darrell Waltrip. 20 points is an impressive game for Darrell Waltrip because you feel like that this race is even. Atlanta is an advantage to Elliott, and Riverside probably an advantage to Waltrip.
Of course, the last part of the season has worked in Elliott's favor before. He's had a pretty good run. Remember, he nipped Harry Gant here at Rockingham right on the line. They placed second in Atlanta last year, and he had a fourth at Riverside. So I would say that, you know, with every other week to get ready, that Elliott team will get stronger. They certainly had a misfortune early in the going today when they got the front end rubbed up on the car. Still out here. He's a top 10 contender, and we're a long way from over.
44 is in, coming down pit road. Terry Labonte, one of the leaders. I think this is an unscheduled stop because he ought to be able to run further than the Fords of Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, and Cale Yarborough. They're going to the right side, changing those tires. That's Terry's dad, Bob, carrying the tires.
Let's go to Jerry Garrett.
It looks like they want to just change the outside tires. I don't know if there's a problem or not. They're talking on the radio a lot to Terry right before that stop, and I guess he decided that the handle had gone away too much.
Terry Labonte has to stop one more time. So if the caution flag is, what a terrible, terrible break for Terry Labonte. He loses a lap in the pits, and the caution flag comes out.
Yellow is out around the track. That marks the 6th time this afternoon. We've got a caution flag in the running of the Rockingham 500. Big break for Cale. Helpful to all of those guys except for Labonte. Here is Jerry Garrett.
Okay, well, most of the cars are coming in to take advantage of this yellow flag. It's a perfect time for him to come in. Cale Yarborough was one of the ones that was waiting for that yellow flag. He was going to come in about 10 laps, his crew said. So as soon as he can duck in the pits here and make that stop, he's going to be back out on the track a lot better off than Terry Labonte is.
There's a piece of debris about 300 to 400 feet up the track from the start-finish line, lying right in the center of the track, and that has brought out this caution period.
Okay, we got the debris.
After 17 lead changes, there you see it.
Well, you know, they have to throw the caution flag because it is a dangerous piece of debris.
We'll be back with more from the North Carolina Motor Speedway, racing at the Rock here on the Superstation. Next week on Super Football Saturday for our SEC fans, it will be Kentucky at Georgia. Game time, 12 o'clock noon. And for our Big Ten fans, Michigan State at Purdue starting at 12:30. And on Super Football Saturday night, it'll be California's Bears against the UCLA Bruins at 8 o'clock Eastern. Check your local listings. We're just back underway, just taking green. And as they scoot down into turn number 1, Cale Yarborough is still the man of the hour here in the Rockingham 500 this afternoon. Just in front of the field, number 44. That's Terry Labonte trying to make his lap up.
And Ricky Rudd right behind him, another car that needs to make a lap up. Cale Yarborough is alongside him, though, coming down the front straightaway.
Caution here is what those two cars of Labonte and Rudd are looking for. But Labonte gets real high down here in turn number 1. Ooh, the squeeze.
Three abreast. Oh.
Bouchard all the way to the top.
Cale went in the corner, and the car, for some reason, seemed to go, did not turn very well. Darrell Walter took advantage of that situation, took the lead. Darrell Walter, leader of the race right now.
There you see him, number 11, going out in front. 47 car now hugging the inside. They go down in the corner another time. Boy, what a war this has been all afternoon. The Rockingham 500 for $300,000. But the major story is still to come up with 2 races to go in the series after today. Atlanta and then Riverside, California, as Walter now leading, trying to deal with Bill Elliott, who's made such a great effort in 1985.
Jerry Garrett is the Terry Labonte pit, and I think he has an update on his problem. Jerry?
Well, Benny, the problem that Terry had was that he cut a right rear. He didn't know which one it was. It was one of those cases where he just come in and change 2, and he hoped they got the right 2. They got the right 2, but they were going to change the other 2 next lap by. So when the yellow came out, it did save him another stop, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Waltrip, number 11 up in front.
So he did have a flat tire. That's at least there's some consolation in the fact that he didn't lose 2 laps.
Car number 27, Tim Richmond, loose out of 4, down to the grass, picks it back up, and keeps going.
Only Tim Richmond could do that. Only he could spin the car, go through the grass.
I don't think that was as good as headache, when do you?
Oh, he has a flat tire because he almost spun the car coming off the second corner. He has a flat tire.
That might do it. Oh, that's a tough one for Richmond. He just keeps getting close. I'll tell you, the other one that can scoot it down through there is Joe Ruttman, as he's proven a couple of times in the grass. Harry Gant, for that matter.
Richmond does not pit. I thought surely he had a flat tire because he got the car sideways in turn 2, but he came by, did not pit.
You think he's trying to let that pit crew get ready?
Very possible that could be. You know, and you got to feel for Richmond in case he does have to pit, because he was a lap down, fought his way back, got back in the lead lap, and he doesn't need any problems right now.
Waltrip first, Yarborough second, Bouchard in third. And now beginning to show his colors. Here's Waltrip up in front. Boy, what a hoot and a holler he got out of this crowd today. And Cale wants to do something about Waltrip. Here he comes. Going in fourth is Bill Elliott, fifth is Bodine, sixth is Richmond, seventh is Terry Labonte, and at eighth is Ricky Rudd with ninth, Lake Speed, and 10th is Harry Gant, the 33 car. Now Cale's right back there.
Labonte desperately needs for these two guys to race. He needs for Waltrip and Yarborough to race side by side for about 10 laps. Let him get a little bit of a lead, so when one of them gets the lead, he will have enough cushion to wait for the caution flag to come out. And Yarborough's going to try it. Excuse me, Ken.
Here they come once again. Labonte is pulled away, Benny, and almost a full second, maybe a second and a half.
Cale gets it sideways up in turns 3 and 4. Almost spun the car.
And he's got to deal with Bouchard now. Here's Bouchard underneath him, and it's Ron Bouchard going for second place in turn 1. Oh, that could have cost Cale. That can scrub off some rubber and really hurt you.
It did hurt him because it lost enough momentum that Ron Bouchard gets by. Now he doesn't have to worry about Darrell Waltrip. He's got to worry about Ron Bouchard and Darrell Waltrip.
What a stout run by this Ron Bouchard today.
There we see the difference between Labonte and Waltrip. Terry Labonte trying his best to stay out there, and get that lap back in case a caution flag should come out.
As we pointed out earlier, they are racing on a brand new surface. It's a new track for everyone here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. And earlier we talked to Darrell Waltrip about breaking in a new surface.
Next year, this track will be super. We'll come back here next year and set a new track record. Right now, it's like breaking in a new pair of shoes. We're breaking in a new pair of shoes right now.
And they're hurting their toes just a little bit, Ken.
Tell you who's not hurting his toes at this moment. Number 9, Elliott, is really on the climb. He's pulling up here, getting right up behind number 28. Cale Yarborough running in third behind Bouchard, and the next man back is Bill Elliott, definitely on the climb, and right behind him is Bodine. Can you imagine this race sticking that close together all the way? I can remember a lot of races where somebody win by a lap or 2.
Or 3 or 4 laps. I mean, to win by 3 or 4 laps at Rockingham with 492 laps was not so unusual. But today we've got how many cars in the lead lap? 7 cars now in the lead lap. Labonte being right on the tail end of the lead lap. Waltrip has gained on Terry Labonte. And he's only about 10 car lengths behind him right now. There we see Bill Elliott. Right behind him, Jeff Bodine.
At 3/4 of the race, if Waltrip and Elliott hold their current positions, Waltrip would lead going to Atlanta for Sunday, November 3rd, by 35 points, Benny.
Quite a lead, one of the last 2. Bodine alongside Elliott. I don't think Bill is going to. He does contest him. I thought maybe Bill would just let him go and let Bodine try to run the leaders down and him follow him, but he is contesting. No, there goes Bodine. He has the spot.
So Bodine now finds himself in 4th. Elliott is back to 5th. Bodine's on the move here today. Up in front, Waltrip has the lead. Bouchard is in 2nd. Cale Yarborough is in 3rd. We get one of those classic cautions late in the going. Oh, boy, it could be a Talladega finish.
Could we have a barn burner? You know, and Yarborough is off the pace. He's not the dominant car that he has been today. Right now, Bouchard and Waltrip pulling away from Cale Yarborough.
Nor is car number 11. Look at Bouchard ready to fight with Waltrip here. Ron Bouchard sticks that number 47 right up for another go with Darrell Waltrip. How about a report from the STP Pit Center? Dave Despain and Dale Inman.
I'll tell you what, guys, we're watching the same race you are with the advantage of having the best crew chief in the history of the game to talk about it. Dale Inman on the last yellow flag. Darrell Waltrip took on 4 tires. Cale Yarborough took on 4 tires. Now, we've talked all day about this new racetrack and how critical the tires are. Do you think that tire change might be the key to the situation here and the reason that Yarborough's falling back?
Well, there's no doubt about that because he had checked out on that last run that they had, and then, of course, the caution came out. They changed 4 tires. And another car that hurt real bad was Ricky Rudd because he was holding pace with Yarborough, trying to make up a lap, and he has fell back. But Terry is fighting for his life right now to stay in the same lap, and he's having a heck of a time of it. Bodine gained on this. He's running better in
Bill Elliott, he was running good before the caution came out, but right now he is a factor.
Cale Yarborough losing ground after that stop. Some other guys gaining the advantage. Jeff Hammond said earlier that they were chasing the racetrack. That's Darrell Waltrip's crew chief. Said they were chasing the racetrack. What does that mean?
Well, it means if as a temperature change or if one car gets running in the groove a long time, that groove gets slick and you have to go somewhere else. And we can watch right now as Darrell puts Terry a lap down, and evidently they did make some changes. But if he wants to run low because his groove has got slick, they have to change for that.
If he's chasing the racetrack, it looks like for the moment at least, he might have found it out there, might have caught up with it as Darrell Waltrip battles with Terry Labonte.
Jeff Bodine is the man on the move. Now there you see Labonte taking a very high line, and you witness the number 11 as your first place car, Waltrip, and then the second place car, the 47 of Bouchard. But that yellow and white car of Bodine just moved around Cale Yarborough to take over in third. Now Bodine has come so very close so many times this year with second place finishes. He pulled one off at Richmond, Atlanta, North Wilkesboro. He's finished the first 16 races this year. He's fallen out of 5 of the last 9. They're hoping to turn that around today. And there he goes right underneath, just motoring underneath Bouchard.
Ron Bouchard almost lost the car going in turn 1, which allowed Jeff Bodine to go by. And he may have found something. Charlie Harville in his pits, and Charlie can give us an update. Charlie?
I can. I'm right here with Harry Hyde, Jeff Bodine's crew chief, and it appears you found the right combination, Harry.
Well, maybe on this stop, we tightened the car up a little bit for him, and he likes the way it's running. And we're going to try to hold it the rest of the race now and hope to get a good finish.
What's your tire situation? Will you have to have 4 tires before the race is over with?
Yeah, it's been a fight on tires and stagger all day, and I guess all the crews have just been juggling for it. Some of us are hitting it and some ain't.
Right now, it is Harry Hyde who's hitting it on tires and everything else for Jeff Bodine.
There goes Bodine by Labonte. There's only Darrell Waltrip in front of him, and the number 5 car, Jeff Bodine, will be the leader of this race.
Remember that Terry Labonte is a lap down. He's falling a lap down out of car number 5.
There, Bill Elliott right behind Cale Yarborough. This is the best that we've seen the Bill Elliott car all day, Ken.
Remember that Cale sliding a little there is in 3rd place, rather in 4th place, and Bill Elliott is in 5th.
Elliott needs to run good because his adversary, Darrell Waltrip, is leading this event. So he needs to get up there.
381 laps are now complete, Benny.
Only 111 to go. Only 111. That's a long ways. And we've been going a long day, but, you know, it doesn't look like that anybody has a clear-cut advantage. One moment it's Yarborough. Now it's Darrell Waltrip and Jeff Bodine. If they make a pit stop, who knows where the advantage is going to go to.
The defending champion of this event, Bill Elliott, looks inside. Cale looks a little loose for a moment. Other than last year, Bill Elliott had an 8 back in 1981, and the other stories were not so pleasant for him on this racetrack, dating back to when he first came here. Started, what, 33rd in the race, finished 31st or something. He tells a great story about that.
Oh, Yarborough, he got the car sideways coming off turn 4, gives Bill Elliott just a bit of an advantage, and there, a battle for the lead, Ken.
All right, here comes Bodine after Darrell Waltrip fighting for first, and a great battle going on a little further back. Look at this. Here comes Bodine working bottom side. Darrell Waltrip just try, and Waltrip got touched, I believe.
Waltrip shut him down. He said, not today. You're not going in there beside me.
That's one guy you can't shut down. I mean, this Bodine can get real physical. Here he comes, and Waltrip tries to pinch him on Bobby Hillen's car and does so.
Use the pick. Bill Walton would be proud of him.
The Bird could have used him. Waltrip leading. Bodine in second. Bouchard and Elliott. Cale Yarborough coming up next. Bouchard in third.
Bill Elliott has gotten by Yarborough, and Yarborough is drifting back.
Away. He has just absolutely gone away. Cale has fallen back almost a second now, Benny.
Yes. The 12 car, Neil Bonnet, went by.
That Ron Bouchard in that number 47 has only one top 5 finish in first 14 races this year. And they picked up J.C. Elder, and that's changed things a little. They've had 8 top 10 finishes in 10 consecutive races. They try to get her. And of course, their best finish third, Talladega this year. They seem to be coming on. Cale. Harry Gant closing in there. Number 33, the Bandit, staying right out there and sticking it out. What a battle up in front. Here's number 5, Bodine.
Waltrip uses
first one of the year.
Waltrip is using some racetrack. You know, that car isn't that wide. Here, Bodine gets alongside of it. They're side by side.
And there's nothing too much in front. They've got room to race here. Bodine, bottom, the Hendrick car. And he's going to have the spot for the moment. Here comes Waltrip back on the high side.
Oh.
Dandy race.
It is a dandy race. I think that Bodine just kind of moved up the racetrack a little bit. Waltrip, again, in the point battle, could not take the chance that Bodine was not going to give him room, had to back off the throttle.
So, the new leader is Jeff Bodine. Waltrip falling back to second place. You're watching it live on the Superstation WTBS today from Rockingham, North Carolina. The $335,000 500-mile race, 3 from the end. Atlanta coming up in 2 weeks, which you'll see here on the Superstation. And then Riverside, California, on the road course for 500 kilometers will decide it all. For the moment, Waltrip with the advantage over Bill Elliott. But the way this battle in the points is seesawed this year, what, 11 different changes?
11, a record in the points, in the changes for the point championship.
4 from Rockingham in a moment. On lap 391, the day ended for Cale Yarborough. You see him sitting on the fence. He's just clambered out of his car, climbed over Lake Speed's car, and he sits there dejectedly now. The Waddell Wilson car, the Harry Raniere Lundy car, taking a savage beat. There's Lake Speed, and there's the Ellis car. Those were the 3 that were involved in an altercation at turn 2. Lake Speed, who was up in front in the up-and-comers award of the Nationwise car, that's been destroyed. Let's look again at how this happened.
What happened, Ken? I was watching Cale Yarborough. He gets the car. He's right up against the wall. He gets the car sideways as he comes off. He corrects it, and the car has no place to go back into the wall. Now he's completely out of control. He runs into Lake Speed. And Tommy Ellis spins the car to try to avoid both. Lake Speed comes down, hits the inside wall very hard. Cale runs into Lake Speed one more time. And then again, both cars hit Cale Yarborough, the 18 of Tommy Ellis and the 75 there. The right front tire blew on Cale's car as he was coming to a stop.
Tommy Ellis in the Friedlander car has been able to continue. We are under caution. This is the 7th one of the day here at Rockingham as it's really taking its toll. Cale Yarborough, who has won this race before, will not be around to contest it at the end today. After a magnificent race for that car, number 28, the 4-time winner of the event. You saw him sitting there dejectedly. Lake Speed, who was giving it his all. His sponsor of his car was a sponsor of the race. He really wanted to perform. They came in here geared up. They qualified on the outside of the front row. They set for about 45 minutes on the pole before Terry Labonte barely beat them out for the pole position. And now it's all over for 2 very fine competitors and fine people. Can we look at that replay another time, Benny?
I tell you what, I was watching Cale Yarborough during the commercial break. There we see him. I saw him get the car sideways. He corrects the car, but the outside retaining wall is there. He doesn't have enough room. Up on the wall he goes. He almost goes over. That's what caused Bobby Allison to crash here and turn over about 7 times several years ago. Lake Speed, victim of circumstances, had nowhere to go, runs into Yarborough, and then the inside retaining wall. And he comes down. Cale hits him one more time. Ellis and Lake Speed both make a sandwich out of Cale Yarborough. There the right front tire blows again.
It was 1976 when Bobby Allison had that terrible wreck. And now we see number 28 coming in the record directly down below us. Number 28 coming in, and what a bad day for the team from Sardis, South Carolina.
There we see the
Charlotte, North Carolina. Here is Charlie Harvey.
Here is Tommy Ellis, who was involved in that accident. Tommy, what happened?
Well, I don't know. You know, it's hard to say what happened. I don't know whether Cale blew a tire or whether he just got in the wall. Anyway, either way, you know, he hit the wall first, and he come back across the track and got into the lake, and then cars were just going back and forth, and I thought I was going to make it through there, but it just clipped Cale, and then it turned me around, and then got back into the lake. It's just the way it was, you know. It's hard to say what happened. You have to ask Cale.
Tommy Ellis, he's not sure, but he knows he was involved in a crash.
There we see Terry Labonte behind pit wall. got a note here that he made a pit stop a moment ago, changed the left sides. They did not put the lug nuts, didn't tighten the lug nuts on the left rear, and the wheel fell off. There's the remains of Cale Yarborough's car. Severe damage to the nose of that car. All the way around.
In the middle of a sandwich with Tommy Ellis's car and Lake Speed. That's such a sadness when you see a competitor who is such a racer have a day end like that.
What a job
the
he
same
did.
for Lake Speed, who, you know, second at Daytona, it just hasn't gone his way, and this race meant so much to Lake Speed, and have it end like this.
What a job that Cale Yarborough did today. Just the car was great. As a matter of fact, he right now has led more laps than anyone else in this event.
Waltrip is first, Bodine is second, Elliott is third, Bouchard is fourth, as we get set to go once again. Cale walking in for checkup, walked away from that one.
Lake Speed, both of them are walking in the ambulance into the hospital.
Now, I know a lot of people, when you see a wreck like that, Benny, they talk about that, but the kind of racing we've had here today, the kind of competition that has been demonstrated by Cale Yarborough and by Waltrip and by that Bodine and Bouchard and Elliott, I mean, that's as good as it gets. You don't need that.
No, you don't need the crashes.
It's sad when you have a wreck that really takes out some good race cars.
We need that side-by-side racing. That's what we've been having today.
We'll be back with more from Rockingham, North Carolina in the 500 after these words. There you see the remains of the dreams of Lake Speed today. Remach team number 75 destroyed. Terry Labonte has come back on the track one lap, and they're going to be racing. You saw him behind the wall. Now he's in. Dale Earnhardt is on pit road in car number 3. As we prepare for a restart, one lap away. Waltrip is in front. Bodine is in second. Elliott is third. Bouchard is fourth. Richmond is in fifth. One lap down. Ricky Rudd is in sixth.
The reason that Dale Earnhardt pitted is they wanted to make sure that car was full of fuel. They are not going to stop anymore, and there must be other cars on the racetrack that can go all the way. Otherwise, they would have stopped and put that last drop of fuel in the gas tank.
When they come by this time, there will be 90 laps remaining.
That shouldn't be any problem for all the cars to run the rest of the way.
But the air may be showing through the tires and tubes before this one's over, Benny. Right down to the inner liner. Here we go. Getting ready for green. Going to turn 1. Waltrip for the lead. Bodine in second. Now, has Elliott anything left after getting hit early?
Spin down in turn 1.
Bad spin. 1, 2, 3 automobiles involved. One of them all the way around.
Rudd's trying to get his lap back.
Trying to get his lap back, and he hits Waltrip.
He hits Waltrip. He almost spins.
Here comes Rudd trying to get his lap back as they race to the line. Bodine comes down. Ricky Rudd is going to make his lap up right here. Don't you think, let's just watch for a moment and see if Darrell goes up and has a word with Ricky.
I would think you'd have a word of prayer with him.
Yep, a little consultation perhaps here. Waltrip going into the corner, and Ricky Rudd wanted to get that lap back, and he sure got it. Bodine now moves in front as they race to the line. 4 cars involved. It was a minor skirmish up in the first and second turn. We saw Randy Baker's car spinning there. Let's take a look again. Here they were on the start.
Here's 3 cars abreast. That may be where it starts. Yes, Clark, Dwyer, and Rand. Let's see, where are we? Oh, that's the Mike Potter car. Yep. Gets touched by Eddie Birchwell. He spins back up the racetrack. That's the 87 car of Randy Baker that T-bones him. And Jimmy Means, runs right in the back of him. James Hilton, driving in the relief of Trevor Boyce, got by on the outside.
That would not qualify for Goodies Award. It's either Cale or Lake Speed as far as I know.
Cale Yarborough has it hands down, because the race he drove today led the most laps, more laps than anyone. He has the Goodies hands down. If the press doesn't vote him that award, it's fixed.
On the other hand, he's only won $4,300,000. This poor little guy from Mississippi just trying his very best. Now the Nationwise, the up-and-comers award, Rusty Wallace has now taken over in that category as champion of the future that's never won a Grand National race. $1,000 prize from Nationwide today. Both are sponsoring the race, as well as the special award, merchandise from their store. They just opened the store right here in North Carolina. And second is Phil Parsons. Well, look at that.
How about
Alan Kowicki is running in third.
You know, if Rusty Wallace, I think, is a lap in front of Phil and Kowicki, but if he could get back in the lead in the lap with them, what an interesting race that would be.
You know, as far as that award is concerned, I can't think you can disregard the effort that Kyle's put out today. 75 laps out, he came out, he had real bad luck at the very, very top. Real hard luck.
What was just a very few laps in the race, a crash that eliminated his chances, Neil Bonnet's chances, and Joe Ruttman. Bonnet only lost about 8 or 9 laps, and the 75 car, the 7 car, Kyle Petty must have lost 80, 90 laps.
Ready on a restart. Rusty Wallace moves up on the inside. He'd like to get a lap back here. Down a couple.
There again, behind him, he wants to get his lap back.
On this restart, as they come down, it'll be number 5, Bodine in front. Waltrip is in second. Elliott's in third. Bouchard's in fourth. Tim Richmond in fifth. And now Ricky Rudd in sixth, all in the lead lap. A lap down in seventh is Harry Gant. Getting set to go. Another time here.
Dale Earnhardt is 2 laps down.
Restart coming up. Safety car coming off the track. Rockingham is where it's happening today. Atlanta in 2 weeks. $300,000. They're really taking each other apart.
Bodine starts the race back in the corner. They normally wait till they get to the front straightaway for the restarts, but he started it back in the corner, trying to get the jump on Harry Gant and Rusty Wallace, and did so. Harry Gant about 5 or 6 car lengths behind him.
Lake Speed had been running in 8th when he crashed. That'll move Dale Earnhardt up into the 8th spot. 9th goes to Rusty Wallace. 10th is Greg Sachs overall in the event. Buddy Baker is in 11th. Caution is out again. Caution is out. Yellow flag is out all the way around.
Harry's going to try to get his lap back.
Caution is out. Oh, that's all. Try to get word on why this caution's come back on the speedway. Phil Parsons is in 12th. Maintaining the 13th position right now is Eddie Birchwheel, and in 14th is car number 67, Buddy Arrington. I think this may be a very short stop, and they're going to turn him loose. Let's go quickly to the GM Goodwrench Motor Week Race News Center and get this report.
Thank you, Ken. We have plenty of action here at Rockingham, but across the country in Pomona, California, racing is getting underway at the NHRA Winston World Finals, last event of the NHRA season. Top qualifiers are all series champions at that event. Don Garlitz in Top Fuel, Kenny Bernstein in Funny Car, and Bob Glidden in Pro Stock. Already, Big Daddy Garlitz has set a new world record for any class, 268 miles an hour, and he backed it up. But his day has been ruined a little bit. Garlitz lost in the Krager Weld Wheel shootout for Top Fuel. $30,000 went to the man Garlitz beat for that title, Joe Amato. We'll have more results and highlights on our next edition of the GM Goodwrench Motor Week Racing Update, Ken.
Here's the story. They put the flag out. Bill Gasway was not going to stand for that start when Bodine made that jump in turn 4, and he made them put the yellow flag back out, and Harold Kinder just gave a very stern warning, looked him right through the windshield and said, don't you do that again.
And that's exactly what happened. You know, as I said, they normally start the race on the front straightaway, and Bodine jumped back in the corner. As you said a while ago, exactly what happened. Harold Kinder said, don't do that to me again, boy. I've never seen a caution flag before that. That's the first time since
well, you see it in short track sometime. It's almost never in super speedway.
The one thing that's happened on the restart is Harry Gant is alongside. He has gotten by Rusty Wallace. Now he is the next car beside Jeff Bodine, which gives him a better opportunity to get that lap back.
6 cars in the lead lap. Gant in 7th place, 1 lap down. He's going to try to make it up right here and hope that he gets a caution, such as we just had. Minor skirmish. Nothing serious like that Kelly Yarborough crash with Lake Speed and Tommy Ellis. Getting set for green. Safety car is coming in. You see the lap cars down on the inside. Cars in the lead lap up on the outside, getting ready for a go. It's North Carolina Motor Speedway where it's happening today, and it has been a thriller. Action all afternoon. As we come down live here on the Superstation WTBS, it is Bodine jumping out. Harry Gant immediately pulls up, blocking Waltrip's effort to close on Bodine. Let's go to Jerry Garrett in the pits immediately.
Cale, you knew you had a loose pair of tires on there, but you didn't know it was that loose.
Well, no, I knew the tires was mismatched. We had a bad stagger on them, and it just got looser and looser and looser. And I don't know, but maybe it didn't have one going down because it got so bad. And coming off turn 3, It just got sideways on me, and I couldn't straighten it up and got into the wall.
It looked like the lap before he just had both hands crossed up on the steering wheel, completely trying to save it.
Yeah, I guess I made a mistake by not coming in and changing because it was too bad to try to stay out there.
You were trying to wait for another yellow flag.
Right, that's what I was hoping for, but I caused it.
You're okay now?
I'm okay. It just knocked me out there for a minute, but I'm okay.
Okay.
Again, he had better go back in the hospital because that was turn 2 he had his problem, not turn 3. And we see the battle for the lead.
And as you see the battle for the lead, Gant has made his lap up. Gant is back in the lead lap. That'll put 7 cars in the lead lap. And there you see Waltrip, and he keeps that edge right down there and shoulders Bodine. There.
He had...
and it opens it up for Bouchard. Look at Bouchard's run today. He's going after Waltrip.
Here he comes. He's alongside.
If you try to settle it with one guy, you're going to lose to another guy.
You can't do it. You can't settle. Look at Bouchard.
And Elliott's coming back into it.
Here
How about that?
Bill Elliott. Yes.
Bill Elliott on the bottom of the racetrack. He's got the... He could win this thing. Elliott closing up, going underneath Bodine. Here we come. The crowd rises to its feet.
Oh, they love their Bill Elliott.
Bouchard out in front, Waltrip in second, and here comes Elliott to race Darrell Waltrip late in the afternoon. How about this? Into the back straightaway, Ron Bouchard out in front. Number 11, Waltrip is in second, and closing round. Here comes $1 million bill from Dawsonville, the guy who won $1 million in that tremendous race at Darlington. Crowd cheering as they come out of turn number 4. Oh, car crashing behind them up in the corner. It looks to be the 44 car of Labonte has spun, ended up right at the top of pit road. It's going to bring out a caution. They're going to race back to the line.
Harry Kent has an opportunity to get his lap back.
They will race back to the line. Car number 11 scoots out in front. They're on the radio, I'm sure, telling there's been an incident number 4, and there's no sense in running through a lot of debris and maybe cutting down a tire and putting yourself in the wall. Bouchard stays in front. Gant stays in front of Bouchard, so he'll pull around and be on the tail end of the lead lap, giving the 7 cars to the finish. Doesn't get much better than this.
It really doesn't get any better than this. You know, this is what the drivers have been waiting for. They know now about the racetrack. They know that how difficult it is. They know how to get around the racetrack. They have 400 laps of practice. They all want to win. We got 7 guys right now. Nobody's going to take second place if they can help it.
417 laps complete, 75 laps to go. We'll take a look at what happened to Terry Labonte after these messages.
Wherever you find action, champions there, on the land, on the sea, even in the air. It's a winning tradition, no one can compare. Sparks like the spark of success. Champion.
Champion salutes Bill Elliott, winner of NASCAR's Winston Million. The plugs that sparked Bill's $1 million prize, Champion Comfort Plus.
Wherever you find action, champion is there. Nothing sparks like the spark of success. Champion.
421 laps have been completed, 71 to go. We're just barely back under green. Out in front sprints Ron Bouchard. Waltrip came in, changed some tires. It put Bill Elliott into second place, and that's where he lies right now, about 8 car lengths behind. This number 47, Bouchard. Remember, he won that one race, just one, Talladega, 1981. He's trying so hard to win again today. Here he is, trying to fend off Bill Elliott in car number 9, the second place man. Ricky Rudd in number 15 has come to 3rd. Harry Gant is in 4th. Tim Richmond is in 5th on that restart. Darrell Waltrip in 6th, and then Bodine. Bodine also fitted for rubber.
Yes, he did stop for 4 tires.
There you see the number 2. That's Rusty Wallace. He's leading in the Up-and-Comers Award, and he was right up on the point, the lap cars. Let's take a look at a replay of what happened to Terry Labonte, who's really had his problems today.
We don't see what caused the problems, but he spins coming off turn 4. That's Buddy Arrington, I think, just barely getting by. Neil Bonnet barely getting by. The 3-car Dale Earnhardt, J.D. McDuffie, Buddy Baker's Oldsmobile barely getting by. And, you know, Jerry Garrett has another report on Terry Labonte's problems. Jerry?
They had sort of gone downhill in a hurry for Terry Labonte after that strong run. On his last pit stop, he ran over one of his pit crewmen and broke the guy's foot. He's going to be okay, but it's kind of a tough break for him, too. Another report from the hospital is that Lake Speed is still in there being examined. There's nothing seriously wrong with him. He just wants to collect his thoughts for a minute, and he hopes to get the car fixed and maybe get back into the race.
Darrell Waltrip.
Now down pit road to Charlie Harville for another report.
Here in the pits of Bill Elliott, Ernie Elliott, the crew chief. Ernie, you have come on very strongly in the late stages of the race. What have you done?
Well, with Chancey's been messed up all day, and we've been mainly trying to stay out of trouble, which we haven't done a very good job of. And, you know, we're just trying to get straightened out now. We seem to have a pretty good, pretty good setup right now, but, you know, who knows? Today it seems like you've got a good setup one minute, and the next minute it's no good at all. So I'm not going to count everything in the bag right now.
You've got enough gas to go the way. You don't have to stop again, do you?
No, we can finish the race.
That is Ernie Elliott in the pits, his brother challenging for the lead or leading.
If the race were to end at this very moment, Waltrip leads Elliott by 1 point going to Atlanta, Georgia, on that mile-and-a-half track in 2 weeks. It's going to end that way. Still got some distance to travel. Alan Kowicki was running very slowly at the bottom of the racetrack. Now there's Waltrip trying to go around the sister car, number 12 of Neil Bonnet, involved in an earlier incident this afternoon. See car number 12 really wrapped.
11 car, Darrell Waltrip has passed 27, Tim Richmond, and 5, Jeff Bodine both. So he has a pretty good setup. His tires are pretty good right now.
Waltrip up to 5th. Number 11 up to 5th. Bouchard in front, holding on. You know, the point that you made earlier about how well Bouchard ran in the practice yesterday after the 200, about the same time of day. And some of the guys in the press room, Tom Higgins and company, said Bouchard is going to be tough. He's running fast. If he can stay together, he'll be a real contender.
And Bill Elliott is not gaining on him. He's in second place, and if he had the horses, he'd be up right on the back of Ron Bouchard, because we're getting to the point right now that it makes a difference in winning and losing every split second around this racetrack.
Around this mile track, here comes number 11, closing all the time. Waltrip fired up, lathered up, I would presume, after the move by Bodine. I'm sure he's settled down and forgotten that. Here he comes, up on Greg Sachs in number 77. Greg Sachs reported in the 7th correction in the 10th position. Greg Sachs in 10th. There's the 47 car of Bouchard. A lot of New England hopes. Remember when he wanted Talladega, and the telecast they were doing nationally, that the television went off. They had a power problem, as we had earlier today. And as they came down to the finish, the
network did. Oh, no. He picked it up and deliberately let it leave the room. Here's Waltrip around Saxon, number 77. And has his eyes on Harry Gant's bandit right in front of him. Harry Gant, number 33. Running fourth. Darrell Waltrip, of course, is thinking Grand National Championship. He wants his third so bad. On the previous green flag session, he was the strongest car on the racetrack. He got away from Cale. He built the lead. He consolidated it. But then Dale Inman, on that yellow flag, he stopped and put on a set of tires. All day long, that's been a gamble. Would you have taken that chance in that same situation? Well, only he knew what those tires felt like. Ron Bouchard elected to stay out with his tires. He felt that he had a super set. But I think Darrell done right well, because right now he is on the move, and he's certainly got enough time to catch Bouchard if everything works out for him. But right now it's really a good race with 7 cars in the lead lap, and 4 of those cars that are in the lead lap have not won a race this year, and 3 of them have. So it's going to be a plus for somebody, and I think it would be super if we'd have a new winner this year. Waltrip is around Harry Gant. That moves him up into 4th spot. His nemesis for the championship. Bill Elliott is 2nd. This is the first time all day that point leader Waltrip has trailed Bill Elliott on the racetrack. Waltrip now trails by about 2 2/10 of a second the first place man, Ron Bouchard. We understand we are having technical problems with our satellite feed out of the North Carolina Motor Speedway, and they are attempting to remedy that right now. Stay with us. We'll continue to bring you the action as Ron Bouchard leads. Bill Elliott is in 2nd. Ricky Rudd is in 3rd, and we'll be back with you, hopefully with pictures very shortly.
Fourth is Darrell Waltrip, and fifth is Harry Gant. And since we're out of picture for the moment, let's go to this commercial message as they attempt to remedy the situation. We'll be back with more from the North Carolina Motor Speedway and the running of the Rockingham 500 with 59 laps to go. Ron Bouchard in first, Elliott second, Ricky Rudd third, Darrell Waltrip continuing to clamber back. He's in fourth. Bouchard may be the leader, but here's the battle. Waltrip going side by side with Elliott. Main straightaway. For the moment, Elliott is falling back. Waltrip is taking second. Here comes Elliott trying to roll to the inside, Benny.
He wants to take it back. His fans want him to take it back, but I don't think he has the muscle to do it. And, you know, Ron Bouchard got a tough break because he needed for Bill Elliott to hold Darrell Waltrip up for about 10 laps and just not let him drive by. Unfortunately for Bouchard, Waltrip drove by. I don't think there's any way that Bouchard can hold him back right now.
442 laps have been completed. About 50 to go. Now there is Ron Bouchard staying out in front. 85 has not been a year that has been too strong for him. It's changed a little toward the end. This is the best run they have made. Suitcase Jake moving on to that team, and it seems to have made a difference. A big one here today. Jack Beebe, the car owner, founded this team back in 1978. This 47 team came down from the Northeast, and for several years Harry Gant was the man in that car.
J.C. Elder, crew chief on Ron Bouchard's car, one of the top crew chiefs in this business, has been able to get the Bouchard car handled a little bit better.
You saw the interval from first down to a third spot. Let's go to Charlie Harville right now.
I've got Randy Hope. Jake Elder is tied up at the moment. I've got Randy Hope here. Randy, how about this car? What have you done to it during the day?
Well, the car's running the best it's run all day right now. On that last stop, we did not change tires because the tires we had were the best we've had. Darrell changed all 4 tires, and he's starting to gain on us just a little bit. But we're hoping as the race gets on, his tires will wear down, and we'll be able to hold him off.
But you're set to go the distance the way you are now.
Go the distance, and we just need a little luck this year.
All right, that's the story from the pits of Ron Bouchard.
There you see Harry Gant, number 33. He's come back into this race, maintaining that 5th spot. As the standings go, Ron Bouchard is first, Darrell Waltrip is in second, Bill Elliott third, Ricky Rudd fourth, Harry Gant fifth, Jeff Bodine in sixth, Tim Richmond in seventh.
Harry Gant has gotten by the Ricky Rudd automobile. He's now in 4th spot.
So put Gant up into 4th, bring Ricky Rudd back, then Bodine, followed by Tim Richmond 7th, Dale Earnhardt 8th, Rusty Wallace in 9th, Greg Sachs 10th, Buddy Baker is running 11th, Phil Parsons in 12th, Dave Marcus 13th, and the 49 car, Trevor Boyce. For some reason that says James Hilton. Did they change drivers on that car?
James Hilton got in the car, relieved Trevor. I don't know if Trevor had a problem or exactly what the situation is, but the story we have is James Hilton is in the car right now.
Well, there you're watching, number 33, and there's 47. Out of the race, this is some of the attrition here today. Joe Rutland, awful crash. Bobby Wowak, he's had an in and off afternoon. Spetman crashed up here in turn 4. Richard Petty, motor finally went away. Not today for Bobby Allison in number 22. Tommy Ellis, Cale Yarborough, Lake Speed, really hard crash down here out of turn number 2. Rang Cale's bell. I really had to ring the bell of Lake Speed. Took a real hard blow as he caught the full brunt of car number 28 coming off the outside retainer, trying to come right through his car. Tommy Ellis just drove along and was a victim of circumstance. Ron Bouchard.
Darrell Waltrip is gaining just a little bit. Not a great deal, though, just a few feet at the time. But there's a lot of time. There's 43 laps to go before this thing is over.
Bouchard looking for that second win. My, how he's tried. No one more determined. The only rookie in the 27-year history of the program, Super Speedway Racing, to win a Super Speedway race. In 1981, he took Talladega. Here he comes. Here comes Waltrip. The laps begin to spin off. Waltrip, as he always does, seems to get stronger. He just keeps coming at the end of these races.
He does keep coming. He gets stronger and stronger. And we're in the Darrell Waltrip season. The last 2 or 3 years, it's been his trademark to come from behind later on in the season to overtake whoever was leading the championship.
Well, he learned that the hard way back in 1979 when Richard beat him in that last race. He was heartbroken, and he really knows it from both sides. And again, Junior Johnson's put a team together that at the end of the season just seems to gain momentum. Let's go to Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center.
The end of the season, Ken, and the end of the race. We're 42 laps away from the conclusion here of the Rockingham 500. Darrell Waltrip working on Ron Bouchard. Let's take a look at a couple of interesting stories here today. Here's your top 7 cars. Bouchard the leader. Waltrip is gaining on them. Here's your championship battle. Waltrip, 20 points up coming in, has the opportunity to gain ground on Bill Elliott. Over the years here at Rockingham, Waltrip has much more experience, much more success. 15 starts, 3 wins. Bill Elliott has run only 9 races here and won 1. Elliott with only 2 top 5 finishes here, and Waltrip with 9. Those are the stats on the championship battle. Harry Gant 4th. The other story, guys who have not yet won a race. Ron Bouchard has not won a race. Ricky Rudd in the same situation. Jeff Bodine and Tim Richmond running 5th, 6th, and 7th. A victory for any of those drivers who are all on the same lap would put them in that big buck Winston race that will run at Atlanta International Raceway next year. The 2 stories, the championship and the run to win the first race of the year. Now, to find out more about how it may come out, let's go to pit road and Jerry Garrett.
Well, Dave, we're just down here at the hospital where Lake Speed has just come out. He's been in there for a little while. Lake, how you feeling?
I'm a little tired, but other than that, everything's okay. You know, just one of those things. I'm glad that we're running really good. We had the Nationwise Pontiac running real well today, and things were looking good for another good finish. And, you know, what can you say? Cale had a problem, and I just happened to be too close.
That's heartbreaking. You took a wild ride there.
It was a pretty good lick.
You're okay, though, now?
100%. Everything's fine.
There you see car number 2. That is Rusty Wallace. Rusty, who was the Rookie of the Year a year ago, being shown 9th in the overall rundown, is leading in that Up-and-Comers Award today from Nationwise. Car number 2, Cliff Stewart and company. I'd like to see them win a race sometime soon.
I would, too. I think the Cliff champion would be ecstatic in victory lane. I'd like to see a victory lane with Cliff Stewart front and center.
116 mile an hour average, 26 lead changes among 9 drivers. There again is that Rusty Wallace car number 2, sticking it out here this afternoon, trying to get himself a little further up. He is 9th in the race, leading in the Up-and-Comers Challenge here today.
He's another car that seems to have been running better later on. He didn't run that good early in the race, but he's doing very well right now. That's Tim Richmond that he's right behind. The race for the lead, Ken,
closing up.
Has closed up.
There you see Bouchard, and here comes Waltrip. Waltrip just looks like a big shadow pulling up on that rear view mirror of car number 47, Ron Bouchard.
Just a few feet at a time. Now it's down to just a few car lengths, the difference between first and second. And I think the fans are sensing it because they're starting to get on their feet, wave their hats.
Waltrip has only won 2 races this year. This is the time of the year when that junior giant. Remember, they used to say they'd experiment the first half of the year and then get serious the second half. How many kind of teams can say that? With Junior Johnson, you can. Crowd sitting there looking a little pensive about this situation. Waltrip did not receive the warmest reception when they were introduced to this crowd today. They love Elliott.
Well, Darrell Waltrip, you know, when the fans, when they don't like Waltrip, they say something. When they like him, they say something. At least with Elliott, when they don't like him, they don't say anything.
And he teases them.
Oh, Darrell teases.
Waltrip teases. Yes. He really did again today when he was introduced to the crowd. He gave them one of those who me, palms open. But
why would you boo little old
down toward the finish? As the laps begin to dwindle here, Benny, they are showing 459 complete. 460 this time by 492 the distance. Who's going to win it? We'll know shortly.
Just hear the stock cars rolling down that high bank track. Better keep your eye on number 5, cause he ain't looking back. That's Levi Garrett coming through. Taste that flavor coming through for you. Time after time, the quality comes through. That's why Levi Garrett is the brand I'm proud to choose. Levi Garrett.
At Rockingham, North Carolina, the Rockingham 500. Winding down and out in front has moved car number 11, Darrell Waltrip, over number 47, Bouchard. And it didn't come easily for Waltrip. Let's look at how Darrell Waltrip finally was able to take the lead. Here they were moving up on lap cars, Benny. And right here,
That was it. Darrell Waltrip got alongside. Bouchard said, not this time. He moved back in front. But he has to go up the racetrack. He can't keep it on the bottom. Darrell Waltrip can. He keeps it right on the bottom, comes off the corner. Now we're going down the back straight. Looks like Waltrip has it, but Bouchard has one more shot. There's a slow car up there. I think it was Buddy Arrington. Bouchard tried to run him in the back of him. Waltrip said, no going. Now, Ron tries to get back on the inside. He tries to come back on the inside. They go in the first corner, side by side. But up the hill goes Bouchard. He cannot go in the corner hard enough. Darrell Waltrip takes the position back. Takes number 1 position.
First turn is what licked him.
Yes.
The car just didn't work as well in 1 as it does in 3.
And right now, Darrell Waltrip has the lead. And here's a race for 5th spot between Ricky Rudd. That's Ricky Rudd in the 15 car, Jeff Bodine in the 5 car.
Harry Gant has moved around Bill Elliott. Gant has gone into 3rd spot as they stand. And there you see the 5 car skipping down to the bottom of the racetrack and slipping underneath Ricky Rudd. Goes Bodine, but not for long. Right back comes Ricky Rudd. Waltrip first, Bouchard second. Gant is 3rd.
And there's Tim Richmond. He's the 7th place car. He's right behind those 2.
Tim Richmond's had a good run for it this afternoon. Bodine and Rudd continue their own struggle. 4th place is Elliott, and 5th is a give or take between Bodine and Ricky Rudd, and now here comes Richmond into it. What we're focusing on, the battle for 5th spot. There you see the laps left remaining in this Rockingham 500 this afternoon. Rudd seems to come up a little in the groove. Getting in just a little lower is Tim Richmond. On to a new team, as we heard earlier today, with the Rick Hendrick organization next year.
Right now, Bill Elliott has about a half straightaway lead on Jeff Bodine, but he needs to maintain that. He doesn't need it, because every time that a car passes him, it's points. 5 points if Jeff Bodine goes by him.
Well, once again, you've been right today, Parsons.
Oh, yeah. Cale Yarborough has been nominated the Goodies Headache Award, has been named the Goodies recipient of the Goodies Headache Award, and it was no contest. And he has got a headache. He needs them.
Yes, he does. Crashed in 2 and thought he was in 3. There you see those leaders. And Waltrip is not moving away from Bouchard. Wouldn't you feel that if he had it, he would pull away here?
No. There's no advantage for him to pull away. There's no more pit stops to be made. It's a shootout to the green flag. If the caution comes out, all the lead cars are going to dive in the pits and put on 4 tires. All Waltrip wants to do is stay in front of Bouchard. And he's probably running at a more relaxed pace than he actually can run. Therefore, he's keeping the tires cooler. He's getting his tires, he's making his tires stay better for a run right down to the end in case that Bouchard should come up and push him.
4 or 5 car lengths the difference now. Darrell Waltrip is out in front. Came here in 1973 for the first time. He drove Bud Moore's Ford as a replacement for one of the all-time greats, Bobby Eisner. Number 11, Waltrip now drawing a bead on an extra 2 or 3 car lengths here. Darrell Waltrip hasn't fallen out of a race, Benny, since early May at Talladega.
Is that right?
He's often, you know, they call him Mr. October. Waltrip won this race in 81 and 82. He was on his way to winning those 2 championships while he was on his way to winning those 2 championships.
That's phenomenal, just how good they are later on in the season. He puts another lap on Dale Earnhardt. You know, Earnhardt was one of the front runners early on in the race, but once the group moved up the racetrack and people had to make a choice, some cars ran low, some cars run high. At that point, Earnhardt could not run. He can only run high on the racetrack, cannot run low at all. 475
laps have been completed today here at Rockingham, and our live coverage on Superstation WTBS of the Rockingham 500. $335,000 at stake. Next event, Atlanta Journal 500, coming up Sunday, November 3rd. You'll see it here on WTBS and Superstation. Great football coming up. I can tell you, next Friday night, the Celtics against the Nets. Walton gets into a regular season with a team he really likes. First one since he won the championship up in the Northwest. That's going to be a doozy. And Motor Week Illustrated immediately there following. We're on a special broadcast next Friday night.
2 broadcasts next week.
Yeah. See it again
after the basketball game and then on Saturday.
There's your 4th place man, Bill Elliott, in car number 9. Any luck he's had has been bad of recent since Darlington. Gee, at Darlington, how could he lose? 206 points. They gave him the championship. Everybody said, that's it. It's over. Everybody but Waltrip and Junior Johnson, and they're very stout-hearted fans. It's a long way from over. Here comes Mr. October.
Well, in all my brilliance, I was one of those people who said it was all over. So I don't know what I'm doing up here. I'm not that smart. Waltrip has made an Bill Elliott didn't have any problems all year. Whoever dreamed that he'd have problem after problem after problem.
Maybe that man right there, Junior Johnson. I mean, he's seen it from both sides so many times. But he sure puts a race car together that will work. You got to give a lot of credit to Junior Johnson. Just sitting here and waiting this one out, getting down to those final moments of competition. Now here's Bill Elliott in the number 9 car running in 4th place. 10 Super Speedway victories this year. Do you think he'll get that 11th at Atlanta?
Atlanta is a very good racetrack for Bill Elliott. If he's going to win one, that would be one racetrack that I'd vote for him, yes.
I'll tell you what, those Georgia fans will fill that place, too, to see Elliott.
Sure will. I hope he doesn't win. There's Darlene Dixon from over the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Getting down to the finish. Waltrip in front. Ron Bouchard in second. Bouchard sticks right in there. And I think your point is well taken that Waltrip doesn't want to use the equipment up. You know that any of these guys are tough enough, mean enough. If they're in second place, they can take a run. He'd sure like to move him around like Bodine did earlier.
That's right.
What a move Bodine made on Waltrip. I thought he might have even savaged the side of the car a little, beat it up a little.
I didn't see too much. I didn't see too much damage on the wheel marks on the side of Darrell's car.
Just on his pride.
11 laps to go. 10-lap signal next time by. There's J.C. Elder with the glasses on, the radio.
Yep. Checking the watch out. Jake's like a great horse trainer. You know, if they ran 7 races a day, he'd have a car as many as he possibly could. Waltrip first, Bouchard second, Gant third, Elliott fourth, Bodine fifth, Ricky Rudd in 6th, Richmond in 7th, Dale Earnhardt in 8th, Rusty Wallace in 9th, Buddy Baker in 10th, Greg Sachs runs 11th, Phil Parsons 12th, Dave Marcus is 13th here as the laps run down. We'll have the finish for you in a moment. As the laps run out, 6 laps to go. Here you see the high side view. Coming up next, the Andy Griffith Special, 25th anniversary here on the Superstation, WTBS, following our broadcast today of this, the Rockingham 500. There you see the leader, Darrell Waltrip, looking for his 3rd win of the season. He's out in front, and the man behind him is number 47, Ron Bouchard, with his best run of the year. Not much of an interval, about 1 2/10 seconds between first and second. Harry Gant has made a stunning comeback to be in the 3rd position, while 4th is Bill Elliott, 5th is Jeff Bodine, and 6th is Ricky Rudd. Time running out on this one. Sideways down the main straightaway. Something is amiss on Bill Elliott's number 9. Something seems to be wrong on Elliott. He came crawling, crab-like out of turn number 4 at a pretty good clip. He was running right along, but I wonder if he's cut a tire down.
It's very possible. He came off the 2nd corner in pretty good pace, so maybe he just got the car a little bit sideways. He knows Bodine is back there. He knows that he wants to beat him at any cost, because it's 5 points. Any way he can stay in front of Jeff Bodine, that's what he wants to do.
Meanwhile, Bodine is really closing on Elliott. He's cut it down to about 7 car lengths. The laps trickling away. Final moments. Elliott in the fight for the championship, which looks like it's going to go right to Riverside, California. There he is. You see him at number 9, and coming right up behind him comes car number 5. It is Jeff Bodine. Bodine kids have really had a weekend. There you see Bodine. Harold Kinder putting the marker out on the field.
2 laps to go.
Out in front, Waltrip. He seems relatively secure in first. Bouchard in second at the end of 500 miles. Gant in third. Now, for the moment, as they get down, white flag comes out of the leaders. White flag is out on the leaders. Final moments for Darrell Waltrip to win it this afternoon. Jeff Bodine and Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott, for the moment, seems to pick up a little bit of steam. He came out at number 4, and that car just laid sideways for about 400 feet, and you can see him go almost down to the grass to try to get it back. Coming around to take the checkered flag this afternoon. Give win number 3 of the 1985 season to Darrell Waltrip. He is across the line, finishing in first. Second place will go to Ron Bouchard with his best finish of 1985, and finishing in third will be Harry Gant. Gant will finish in third, and Coming across in fourth is Bill Elliott. There you see him across with Jeff Bodine in fifth. Elliott was able to get his problem solved, come across just in front of car number 5, Jeff Bodine. So as we move to Atlanta, checkered flag is out here this afternoon. Waltrip leads by 35 points.
Gained 15 points on Bill Elliott today. And if Jeff Bodine had passed him, he would lead by 40 points. Another 5. That's why Elliott had to keep him back there if he possibly could.
So the winner this afternoon pulls down on pit road. Let's go to Jerry Garrett.
Well, Darrell Waltrip taking off his gloves, undoing his belts, undoing the head strap he keeps around him to keep his neck muscles stronger as he goes around 492 miles on this, or laps on this track. He's unstrapping his helmet, pulling it off. Darrell, long, tough race.
It was. What time is it? About midnight?
You started 20th. Nobody's ever come from that far back and won this race.
Well, there was a lot of things that happened. This ain't the same racetrack we started out on, and, you know, that made a difference. And I just want to thank the good Lord for a great day, and thank Junior and Jeff and Sandy and Mike and all the boys that worked so hard, Shorty and Gilbert and Henry and everybody in the crew, boys in the engine room, Jeff and Ham and Beecher. Hi, Mom and Dad. Hello, Mother and Father-in-law. Thank God for a safe day.
What do you mean when you say that this isn't quite the same racetrack you qualified on?
Well, it changed 3 times. It got the bottom groove was good, the middle groove was good, the top groove was good, and when it was all over, back down to the bottom again. So next year, these people are going to see a great race here, get some better, little softer tires, and I'm so thankful to win this thing. I want to thank Budweiser and the Kentucky Fried Chicken and Valvoline also, because they're along for the long haul. Hope it's New York.
You pulled up a few more points on Elliott now with this finish.
Well, we needed more than a few. We needed a lot, but as long as this car will run like this, the points will come, and that's what we had to do today. We couldn't come here and play around. We had to come here and work hard and race and try to win this thing. That's how we'd get the points, and Bill looked like he was off a little bit today, and so we wanted to take advantage of that, and the Lord helped us, and praise him.
You practiced more for this race than you probably practiced for any race all season. That paid off for you, do you think?
Oh, we wore the car out. We had to put new rear end, new hubs, new axles, new motor. We had to rebuild it after all the practice.
Well, Darrell Waltrip, it paid off for him today with a victory.
Well, there you see Darrell Waltrip, who's done it again. Pulled it out, and as we mentioned earlier, he won here in 81 and 82, and he went on to win the championship, Benny. It's still a long way to go. Atlanta, I would think, would be Elliott's track for a whole lot of reasons. They got a lot of time to get ready for that race. They're going to come out really loaded. That's a decision race for them. Riverside is a throw like this one was today. It's a road course. It's something these people don't do all the time.
If Bill Elliott should get beaten by Darrell Waltrip in Atlanta like he did today, well, naturally the championship is over, because they'd go into Riverside with a 55-point lead, and then they would have to depend on Darrell Waltrip having problems. They need for Darrell Waltrip to finish about 5th or 6th at Riverside. I mean, at Atlanta, then go to Riverside dead even.
Let's go back to Jerry Garrett.
Well, we're down here on the pit road with the crew chief on the winning car. It must have been a tough day for you, Jeff.
Whew, I tell you what, my heart's been in my throat all day long. I tell you, this racetrack, it's been real treacherous today, and I mean, it's been one whale of a race from start to finish. I mean, they run hard. Everybody did. I was really surprised they didn't have any more cautions than what they did, but the car worked super, and the guys, I can't say enough about them. Sandy, Mike, Gilbert, the boys in your room, Jeff Wilson and Beach and Bill and all the guys back at home. You know, the car was just super today. I mean, it was 1 or 2 rounds one way or 1 or 2 rounds the other way, and the motor just kept coming all day long, and Darrell just drove one heck of a race.
The early moments had to be really tense for you guys, because you're starting back in the back where everything could happen.
Yeah, that's true. That was the one concern we really had today, was that, you know, we done it at Richmond, we come way back in the pack, but, you know, early on is usually the worst time, because on a racetrack like this one today, it was slick, and there was a lot of people starting up front that, you know, were kind of unfamiliar maybe to that position here on the Grand National Circuit. So, you know, we were really concerned about that, but everybody done a real